a question that has popped up to me since I've been teaching. I've answered it many times, but for some reason, even though I've answered this question many times, it always seems to get asked again. I don't know why, and then it dawned on me. Because a woman teacher has to explain it, not a man. You know why? Because I've never had a son and a daughter. I have children through my mates, but I personally never carried a son or a daughter in me for 9 months. Right, brothers? Now, women don't understand it unless they have a son and then a daughter. So they can't teach it. You'll understand the difference in what a male child does to the woman's metabolism and what a female child does to a woman's metabolism only if you can have a male and female child. Other than that, we men do not know why she freaks out more after a female child than she does after a male child. She feels it in her body, the chemical reaction that it has a female child versus a male child. When a woman gives birth to a child that's a female, she takes from every part of her body. Everything from a nail growth, because women's nails grow different than men. If you look at a woman's hands, you can tell. You understand? The way a woman's heel on her foot grows, the curve here, is different than a man's. The arch is different than a man's. The bone structure in the face, though some women look masculine, the bone structure in the face is different. Not to mention mammary glands, fallopian tube, uterus, etc., etc., etc. But these things the woman has. So when a child that's a female is being shaped in the womb with the X chromosome, it takes from every inch of body. Takes off from up here. It drains some of the brain fluids post-mortem. So after she has a female child, she will give you a rough time, brother. She is freaked out. She don't even know why she's freaked out, but she is freaked out. It's something she feels. With a male child, it's half the problem.
The baby in the womb of the human female as a mammal is living in a sack of water. Has anybody here been raised on a farm? Good. I mean, you see a hen lay an egg, right? Does it come out hard or soft? A lot of city folk might not know that. No, not trying to be funny, they don't. When a hen lays an egg, it's soft. You follow? And then when it hits the air, it begins to harden. The same thing happens with the placenta of the woman. When they first remove it from the woman, it's soft. And just in a couple of minutes, it starts to harden up, the clots. Where am I reaching at? I'm reaching at the fact that women have an egg inside of them. That they really give birth to an egg. But unlike the chickadee, it cracks the shell on the outside of the body. You call it my water breaking. And the egg breaks inside and the baby comes forth. What are we saying here? We're saying that human beings are a form of mammal that has an egg inside, and the baby is developed in a liquid substance. So thus the baby is breathing with gills and does not inherit its lungs until it comes. And sometimes in the hospital, they have to pump water out of the baby's lungs, showing that just like the movie, what's it called? The Abyss, that the lungs were full of water until it. So there's a transformation or a metamorphosis from a sea creature with gills to a land creature with lungs. Within that All right, so then, if a man and a woman is together, sexually that is, when a man releases semen into the woman, it's what? Alien. It's alien to her. What is the first thing her body thinks to do? To attack. But they found out, scientists, that there's a certain part of the brain that triggers and it releases a serum that creates an egg inside the womb of the mother. It's an egg or a bag, a pouch. You follow that? And the baby or the fetal is in this bag. And it's kept in a lubricant of water that is producing the hormones, so that it is actually fighting against her invading the baby and killing it. When the brain does not trigger this properly, you hear me? And it doesn't send enough of these defense mechanisms, there's a miscarriage. Right? If too many of these things get in the bloodstream and into the baby, when the baby is born, within 6 to 8 weeks, there's cradle death. It still attacks the baby. They'll tell you they don't know what cradle death is, because they don't know. But it's a scientific fact. This week they had on the news that they figured out a way to regrow the bone. And they figured out a way to reanimate tissue. No, that's on the news. We have, we stay in there. Did anybody hear about it? Well, we did. Check it, go on your computer. Or people of African descent, keloid, is because there was a time where we were able to regrow our limbs as gods. They thought I was crazy. I said, that nigga is nuts. Ain't nowhere in the world where you have their arm cut off and it regrow. Well, now the scientists are saying they can regrow limbs. They can, your bone can be cut off here, and they have a way now where that bone will go back and that flesh can grow back. Well, they grew an ear on a rat, and y'all saw that on television. Well, of course, they could grow your finger back.
This is an application that you can download right on your phone. It's called Quora. You can go to Quora.com. This is an application which constantly updates the statistics on a human body being found in biochemistry and human biology. So, according to this, how long does it take for most of the atoms in your body to be replaced by others, according to science? Okay, every 16 days, about 72% of you is replaced. You can see the diagram of the human body in a minimum of 72% of the water. That's how much is replaced of you every 16 days. So actually what you eat is what the body uses to replace itself. So if you eat Skittles and chips and candy and destructive foods all day, you're giving your body unnatural chemicals to replace itself with, and then you wonder why you get cancer. You wonder why you're vibrating low, because your body is not alkaline or energized. Now, about 72% of the human body is H2O, aka liquid water. Every 16 days, nearly 100% of the water is exchanged in a healthy body. Heavy elements like carbon, sodium, and potassium take occupancy for longer than 8 months to 11 months. For example, the calcium and phosphorus in bones are replaced in a dynamic crystal growth dissolving process that will ultimately replace all bones in your body. All organs are coated in melanin. The liver can regenerate completely even if it's only 25% of itself left. The liver can regenerate completely even if it's only 25% of itself left. The liver can regenerate completely even if it's only 25% of itself left. Other larger organs, atomic replacement can be estimated as such. The lining in the stomach and intestine is replaced every 4 days. The gums in your mouth is replaced every 2 weeks. The skin is replaced every 4 weeks. The liver is replaced every 6 weeks. The lining of blood vessels is replaced every 6 months. The heart is replaced every 6 months. The surface cells of digestion and the top layer of cells in the digestive process from our mouth through our large bowel are replaced every 5 minutes. This data was first put out by Dr. Paul C. Arbesol in 1953 in a landmark paper he presented to the Smithsonian Institute titled Radioisotopes: New Keys to Knowledge.
C4 was severed. You have never heard of cell regeneration, isn't it? Because if a nerve severs, you would never think that it would go back together, right? It will go back together. You have to provide the environment in the body for it to go back together. You call that chemical affinity. Chemical affinity is an electrical attraction. Cells of the same seek each other. Miss Orange, she had her retina detached. It took me 3 months. That retina was attached and she was seeing good again. All with the cleansing, removing that acid condition that divides cells. It not only divides cells, it divides you from yourself.
For your information, that I'm so satisfied with myself now. A woman went down to Honduras and at the healing village, and her breast was completely rotten and all. And we begin to put a poultice. We're making a special poultice with the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞 plant, a very powerful plant called the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞. It's one that the Maya used to use. We put this poultice on this woman's breast that was already rotten off. In 2 months, guess what we saw? A brand new breast growing back with a nipple on it. Would you believe that? Well, you should. Glands grows back. All glands grows back. Philip's mother, which is Annette introduced me to a woman many years ago named 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 from Philadelphia that had myasthenia gravis, and which is the degeneration of the cells of the brain. The doctor told the woman that they would never go back. But I tell you what, she's running again, she's walking again, and everything else is happening. Prior to coming to me, they had cut her thymus gland out. After she came to me, 2 years later, they found out that her gland grew back. And you know the breast is the gland. The mammal glands, they're glands, they grow back. But you have to provide them with that alkaline environment for such occurrence to take place.
They conclude that underarm shaving with antiperspirant use may play a role in breast cancer after all. But what does shaving have to do with it? Shaving removes more than just armpit hair. It removes armpit skin. You end up shaving off the top skin layer. And while there's very little aluminum absorption through intact skin, when you strip off that outer layer with a razor and then rub on some antiperspirant, you get a 6-fold increase in aluminum absorption through the skin. So good news for women who don't shave, but on the other hand, the high through the skin aluminum uptake on shaved skin should compel antiperspirant manufacturers to proceed with the utmost caution. European safety authorities and the FDA specifically advise against using aluminum antiperspirants on damaged or broken skin, yet shaving before antiperspirant application can create abrasions in the skin. I'm sure everyone knows about the FDA warning, having read Title 21, Part 350, Subpart C50-5C1 of the Code of Federal Regulations. But we get so much aluminum in our diet from processed foods, anti-caking agents in like pancake mix, melting agents in American cheese, meat binders, gravy thickeners, baking powder, candy, that the contribution from underarm antiperspirants would presumably be minimal in comparison. But everything was turned topsy-turvy in 2004 when a case was reported of a woman with bone pain and fatigue suffering from aluminum toxicity. But within months of stopping the antiperspirant, which she was applying daily to her regularly shaved pits, her aluminum levels came down and her symptoms resolved.
Teddy Pendergrass. He was in an automobile accident. This is Teddy Pendergrass. Talk to him from his right, from his left. That's it. C4. Meaning he could hear, he could smell, could talk and he could see. That's all he could do. Everything else is paralyzed. His cord has been severed. So the Russians said that they're going to cure him, and they took away $170,000 from him and didn't do anything. The doctors in Philadelphia said, we're going to cure you. They took away $200,000 from him, which is $370,000. Well, reluctantly they called Dr. 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞. I'm the last man to call because, hey, when everything else has failed, but we call 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞. They never come to me first, he was last. So when he came to me, there was a man in there that I didn't know who he was, but he was making a bad recommendation. I didn't know who this man was. I was embarrassed. The man was telling Teddy to eat eggs, and that he could drink peppermint tea. I said, sir, why are you telling this man this? This is against his gene. This is against his condition. Where did you get this menu from? Guess who this man was? 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞. But I can understand an Indian giving a black man that kind of recommendation. 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞 needs help. 3 months later, this is Teddy. He's moving everything. Everything. He's urinating by himself, defecating by himself. He's making love again. He's happy. So I told Teddy that when I get to his waistline, that I want half my money. Because the Russians, the people in Philadelphia helped him. He called me one day very angry and said that the bottom of his feet was hurting him. And he was angry. The bottom of your feet is hurting and you're angry with me? So why are you paying me? To bring back the feeling in the body. So when I asked Teddy, no, what did the doctor say? The doctor said it was impossible for Teddy's triceps and biceps to be back. Now the only way they could be back is that there would be cell regeneration. Well, what the doctors in Philadelphia and the Russians didn't know, that the black people knows about cell regeneration. You only have to allow the body the proper food, the proper nutrition, cleanse the body, and the body, those cells in the spinal cord reunited, and Teddy was feeling pain, and the bottom of his feet was pink. I said, hey, my man, like, you gave the Russians $350 altogether, but because they the other one from there, $370. What about if you give me just one? He said, I'm paying you shit. In those words, I said, you're 100% right. Bye. That's what I got. Cell will regenerate. Does regenerate.
Like one person, his name is Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, after he was healed, he brought his son. His son passed a tumor 15 minutes after I gave him what he had from through his nose, and he had a headache for years. Michael Jackson's babysitter, Grace Rwanda, had lupus, and she was cured. And then Michael Jackson's son's mother, Helga, she was paralyzed for 5 years. She was walking in less than 5 days of treatment. So now you ask the question, let us put it in the vernacular of common sense. Have you heard anybody doing that?
Many females could save themselves a lot of physical problems by continuing what they did when they were very young girls, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, standing on your head either once a day or twice a day for at least 3.5 to 5 minutes. You can leave and go home if you just understand the importance of what I just told every female in here. Stand on your head once a day. If you can't do it now, have somebody hold your feet up. Invert your position of your body for at least 3.5 minutes. If you get dizzy as soon as you start it for the first 30 days or 30 seconds, and then keep on trying, and if you don't do it but 5 seconds. If you could invert your body for 3.5 minutes a day, which gets away from its tremendous gravitational pull on this planet and all of the iron and poisons that are in the earth, and give you a chance to reverse those cell structures and let the blood, just like the river Nile, run backwards, you'd save yourselves a lot of problems. But one thing is, it starts with men. Menstruation. Menstruating women, in general, lose calcium, thyroxine, iodine, phosphorus, lecithin, vitamin E, vitamin B1, 6, 12, 2, 6, magnesium, manganese, iron, copper, zinc, and sometimes for some women this starts 2 weeks prior to the menses. You think about that. Calcium, for instance, stabilizes the nervous system. Phosphorus is found in all healthy, normal cells. Iodine causes the growth and maintenance of the thyroid gland, and this is why the thyroid gland in women tends to swell during menstruation. I give you another key so you don't run off and spend all your money at the doctor's. I repeat that. That's why the thyroid gland in women tends to swell during menstruation. Science has proven that the birth of congenital idiots increases when one travels inland where the soil and the food lacks iodine. Iodine is also an essential element for the maturation and maintenance of healthy female cells. Iodine is also an essential element for the maturation and maintenance of healthy female cells.
So, when you drink these things, what you're getting is what? Phosphates, carbonates, iodides, and bromides. Iodides and bromides appeal to your endocrine system. That is the system that's going to balance your body and your life. The pituitary gland, thyroid, parathyroid, your ovaries, my testes, and the pancreas makes up the endocrine system. But that system depends a lot on iodine from the ocean. Depends a lot on it.
Sea moss. Sea moss scientifically is known as Chondrus crypsis, and it's supposed to have potassium iodide, potassium phosphate, a large percentage of calcium and magnesium. This is why I could fall on my knees on concrete right now at 78. I don't feel any pain. I fall from a standing position. Sea moss strengthen the bones. Sea moss strengthen the brain. Sea moss have the power to bind radioactivity. Sea moss is powerful. I didn't make sea moss. God did. I just combined sea moss with bladderwrack or fucusberry psychosis, and they make a beautiful combination.
How often should I take sea moss?
Look, drink it as much as you want, all day, every day if you want to, because the more you drink, the better it is. It's cheaper by the dozen.
What does it do for you?
It does everything, except it doesn't fire the body up. It strengthens the body, but it doesn't fire the body up like iron. You see, iron is the spark plug of the human body.
Okay.
Iron is the only mineral on the planet that is magnetic. So, being that iron is magnetic, it have a tendency to pull other minerals to it. You understand? It pulls magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, zinc, opium, and all the rest. Gold. Iron pulls all those minerals to it. So it would be safe to say that when you take large doses of iron every day, you are taking all the other minerals on the planet.
But they say that if you take large doses of iron and makes you this, you makes you that, and it's bad for you.
I tell you what, they are absolutely right. If you take too much iron, it would even bind you.
Yes.
It would cause astringency in your intestines.
That's correct.
But you're not talking about God iron.
You're talking about iron made in this factory somewhere.
They are talking about ferrous sulfate. 𝐥𝐤𝐬 tells you iron fluorine. There is a difference.
Amen.
Ferrous sulfate is derived from the oxide state of iron. Iron is expressed on two levels on the planet. One in a plant, the other a rock. But when you take the iron ore and you smelt it, you make a bridge and you make steel. But you can't put that in the human body.
Right.
And this is what the drugstores have been selling us.
Oh, gosh.
What we do is to sell you iron fluorine, not ferrous sulfate.
And you can take as much as that as you want.
Look, I tell you what. You could take a bottle a day. And wait, I want to tell you a little story on iron. There's a little man coming from Bakersfield, California. Dr. 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞, please don't leave Los Angeles right now because I have to see you. I have to see you. The poor old man hung up the phone. And I couldn't respond to the old man. I wanted to tell the old man that I didn't have any more treatment. All I had was a case of iron. But when by the time the old man drove from Bakersfield to LA, I already had my brain working. The old man doesn't know what my treatment really are. I said, Mr. Johnson, his name, Rob Johnson. Mr. Johnson. I said, sir, take a bottle of iron a day for 7 days. And what that man did, what that man told me, by taking iron in 7 days, a whole bottle, nobody ever told me before him. His sugar went down, his penis came up, his eyes cleared up, his energy went. This old man began to tell, but the old man didn't know that he did not get the regular treatment from me. All I had to give was iron. I was taking a chance.
How old was he?
The old man?
Yeah.
Oh, he was young. He was 86.
I state that if the menses was cessated, if it stopped, if the blood loss and even the alkaline liptrate loss was ceased and stopped, then not only would women be very strong, and they wouldn't be intuitive, they would be psychic, but they also could give birth to babies without a man being anywhere around. And there is the key to your problem and your problematic solution. You've bought into the coat's lie, the white coat's lie, the medical doctor's lie, which came about under a patriarchal system. If you start understanding the cadavers that were messed with in England and France at the turn of the 17th, 18th century, and experimentation still goes on. In fact, they, by law, are given under the caduceus the right to practice. And the practice is upon, in many cases, you as females. The silk moth. The silk moth reproduces and never mates. Reproduces without a mate. And as the ancient Egyptians tried to point out, the scarabus beetle, reproduces without a mate and can shed its skin and goes along every 7 years quite well. It dies when it does mate. And if you remember, on the Ankh and the scarabus, you found in your Valley of the Kings, and you found again amongst the pyramid and on the Sphinx itself, that sacred symbol of the scarabus. They were trying to convey something. Most of us have forgotten or never knew what they were trying to convey. Dr. Stanley Balfour Lynn, Dr. Bernard Camber, Dr. David Wine Williams, and Dr. A.E. Morant all studied some 10 classical cases of virgin births and agreed that all 10 of them were real, that in some way parthenogenesis, bringing to birth without the union of sperm and egg, had occurred in all 10 of those cases, barring nothing. The most famous or classical case of virgin birth was by Mrs. Emma Marie Jones, a German woman who during the height of the war, World War II, 1944, had been locked in her castle, a big estate, because it had been bombed, and everybody thought that everybody inside had been killed. And so for 17 months she stayed in there. She was not pregnant when she went in. When she came out, she was 9 months pregnant. There had been no men in there. In 1975, they connected a vibrational detecting device to an unfertilized egg, and they got a rhythmic pulsing beat just like that of a human heart or pulse. What is generally an unfertilized egg? Somebody kind of share with me quickly from the audience. What's the difference between an unfertilized egg and a fertilized egg? Chicken didn't mate, no males around. Yet they have detected, and that experiment has been tried and tried again, some kind of rhythm or pulse within that egg itself. They also found in vertebrates, those that have a central vertebral column again, a spine if you would, that on the phases and oscillations of the moon, that pulse varied, but was always even more intense. For centuries, people had believed in a theory of parthenogenesis. I repeat, parthenogenesis.
All right, when we're dealing with parthenogenesis, and I got it right here to prove, but don't worry, I'm going to give you the science and I'm going to show you what happened in what date is this? July 7th, 2013. Can't see it, but I can see it. So this is definitely 3 years ago that this happened. What happened is in the bone marrow of black women, they were producing sperm. This sperm was being secreted out of today 2 pea-sized glands under the vagina. Women, y'all probably familiar with these glands. If you ever been to a doctor or whatever, they're called your Bartholin glands. They're on each side of the vagina. They're pea-sized. And in these Bartholin glands, you have little openings called Bartholin ducts. And the sperm will shoot out of these Bartholin ducts into the womb of the vagina and fertilize the egg, called parthenogenesis. Now, why is it important? The same way women get wet today, you call it getting wet, whatever you want to call it, imagine if sperm was coming out. So with that being said, when women self-fertilize themselves, this was the process.
And parthenogenesis, or virgin birth, was acceptable and was the more immaculate, wonderful way. All of your ancient gods, so-called, or avatars or presentors were said to have been of what? Virgin birth. Now we laugh at that. Most athletic women find a wonderful, horrible thing that happens to them. Boy, Blair, you can't get your stuff straight. Wonderful, horrible. What a way to put adjectives together. The wonderful thing is that they find that they don't suffer through the monthly menses, and they may even skip months and even have at the most a 30-hour menses. The horrible thing is they think they're pregnant or worse. That's a wonderful, horrible sensation. Women then, of course, as they have before, then go to the doctors to get straight. And they do. The poor, ignorant mother, please mothers, don't get angry with me, let me finish, not knowing any better, suffers greatly with her daughter. The poor, ignorant father, not knowing any more than the mother or daughter, suffers equally and says, yes, something must be wrong, and they all run to the great white coats in the sky for direction and and help. Usually after 6 to 8 weeks, the male fetus starts to secrete testosterone, otherwise it would remain a female. All males start off life as a female in the womb, presently in this moon cycle. When a woman exposed to moonlight at certain days of the month or sunlight at certain days of the month can suffer again even worse menses based again on the amount of meat in her system and the thoughts on her mind. And she's been separated from her higher consciousness. That's why through meditation and prayer, changing of the diet and exercising, not only will the body become stronger and bring out the more higher cycle of the angelic form of woman, but will cause you also to begin to dream in color and understand who you were, because you then lose the reality of the physical body and go into the real illusion of the spiritual self. The awakening has begun, and now women must worry about cysts, because as our sun puts out more energy in this summer, that's all you're going to hear about, women will begin to produce cysts like mad. And if you eat meat, you're going to produce dermoid cysts and go through all kinds of trauma, especially the lower the phylum of the meat that you ingest. Because the vibrations are low and the body must get rid of it, and the sun will work on it and it will try and bring it to term, because that's why it thinks you ate the meat. Did you hear me? You didn't hear me. So not only does a woman then suffer the menses, but if she also has leukorrhea, she is constantly losing the ability to build life-giving blood cells, which anyone knows without that the body does what? Deteriorates. Some women are on a constant menses. And then you wonder why some women are very irritable, very agitative, anemic. They get dizzy and have migraine headaches and jump at the sound of a firecracker 20 miles away, which they think they can hear. If anyone suffered that kind of loss from puberty till death, I wonder again why women are not half crazy. There are some men and other women that say they are. I didn't say it. I say, faced with that loss, we could have a problem. What is very interesting is that not all women on this planet menstruate. Also, not all women on this planet have ever menstruated. But all women think that all women do. Let me also spend a little time with that concept. Most Hindu women do not, and definitely did not, menstruate. One of the last famous Hindu women to achieve prominence on the world stage was Indira Gandhi, who, until she started doing certain things and making certain practices as she toured the world, readily admitted she had not suffered a menstrual period until she began to do these things. Had she but followed her religious undertakings, maybe it never would have started. Most ancient African or Kemetic women did not menstruate. Not Belkis, not Hypatia, not any of the so-called queens of Africa seemingly did, once they began to have knowledge of self. The Oracle of the Delphi, according to the Greeks, were a group of women who pontificated and led Greece through its heyday. It was not led by the warrior men. They did the fighting. The thinking was done by the oracles, and many of the oracles were females. They are said that the oracles did not menstruate. We hear a lot of talk about the Amazon women, the Teutonic women, the Gauls, the West African Watetas, the East African Bossamans, the Andambis of the Congo. Most of these Oceanic women and most of these Kemetic women did not menstruate. These women were the strong women of our history. High alkaline diets, enzymes, fresh juices, plenty of chlorophyll, oxygen-containing foods, along with deep breathing and exercises, shortens the menstrual cycle. Did you hear what I just stated to you? High alkaline diets, freshly squeezed and freshly run fruit and vegetable juices containing enzymes and life force, heavy chlorophyll containing products. Chlorophyll allows you to do as the plants do to some extent, become photosynthetic. You can change light into usable energy and energy into usable light. High chlorophyll containing diets, plenty of exercise, plenty of deep breathing reduces the menstrual cycle. A lack of the exercise, a lack of life-giving foods and meat diets produces the menstrual cycle and reverts you back to the lower vibration of the animal for the human that you are, the animal person.
A woman supposed to see her menses every month according to the norm? Yes, not according to life. History didn't show that, doesn't show that. I am told by many ancient people that the woman used to menstruate once every 4 years.
Wow. What?
And only for 10 minutes.
Right.
But her body was clean.
Of course.
And my sperm wasn't white, it was green.
Wow.
Now my sperm is white, and you have a mens every month. You're releasing an ovum every month that is unnatural because you're accelerating the body. High metabolism. No. So when some of them says that the menses stop, there could be a good reason, there could be a good thing.
That sounds good. So they're still fertile, you think?
Sure.
My last little girl was born. I said, I told her mother, if this child is born and I'm not here, you will not cut the navel string, okay? You understand? Listen to me now, Fanny. You will not cut this baby navel string, okay? And I'm gonna tell you how to do it. When the baby's born, you put the baby on your chest and let the baby suck your breast, the placenta gonna come right out. You put the placenta in a bowl and put some flowers on it, keep the navel string attached to the baby until the placenta. 4 days later, it falls off the baby, you throw away everything. No cutting, no stress.
I'm gonna say stop touching, yeah? You can watch and see, sorry, not to be difficult, but I
No,
wanna...
that's fine, it's your responsibility. So we can keep it here,
okay,
in case you need it.
Question for Dr. Davis.
Yes, I do. I just wanted to know, he's speaking in regards to healthy alternatives to living, but this is for adults. What steps And what meals can we cook up for our children, for children under 5 years old, you know, who you do not want to eat meat and consume, I guess you could say, food that's been genetically altered. What foods, what meals can we cook, can we make to make sure our children grow to be healthy, you know?
Very good. That's a very good question, my sister. I personally, when you ask Dr. Sebi that question, then I have to respond the way that I have seen it.
All right, that's the one I'm speaking right now.
There's a little boy in Los Angeles. They call him Baby Sebi. When this little boy was born, the mother gave the boy, the little baby, her breast, but she was drinking sea moss. Sea moss. Sea moss have to be careful. You have to be careful when you purchase it. But the little boy grew up until he was 6. I didn't know the little boy, but the little boy has been skipped 2 grades already in school. So when I go to the church to do a lecture, somebody came and pulled me by my pants. And I look at the little boy. I said, yes. Do you know who I am? I said, no, I'm Baby Sebi. I said, wow. I've been hearing about you now for 6 years. Nice meeting you. The boy is healthy. The boy looked like something from space. Healthy, blood flowing, happy, a balanced little boy. Never cried in his life. This is what healthy food does. Mother gave him sea moss. She make a porridge in the morning. Give the baby sea moss. But we will be having workshops here in Miami, in New York, in Chicago, Atlanta, Washington. In the spring they begin. And we'll be having these workshops to show the mothers how they could, nourish their children. Because my little girl now is 21. She's 25. She never had a breakfast in her life. All she did was to suck her mother's breast for 8 years. She have to run my business now. She never been to school. Very smart.
Sea moss.
Sea moss. But about the sea moss, there is an artificial sea moss being sold out of Boston. It looks like it's always wet. When you buy sea moss, make sure it is dry. Dry. I mean dry. Because the artificial sea moss that they make artificially, it never dries completely. It's always wet.
Okay. So we can get that from any natural food store, correct?
Yes. We sell the sea moss in Los Angeles, already prepared and grind up for you, where you only have to take a half a tea or a teaspoon, put in the blender with some milk made of walnut or even hemp milk, warm, and you make yourself a nice breakfast. You will be happy.
And also, really quick, with this, are you able to fast when breastfeeding? And if so, would it change at all?
No, well, while you're breastfeeding, you should eat. Eat sea moss. Drink sea moss. Don't fast now. But breastfeed as long as you can. Don't stop. Because Chinese have the babies sucking their breast till 9 years. My daughter was only 8 years. And she didn't have to go to school. That breast milk is powerful.
Question basically ask you, and it's involving the baby, because I got a newborn and I'm noticing that there's not a lot of food out here that is conducive to the diet. So I want to know from you, what can I feed the baby, on a daily basis to basically.
How old is the baby? What age is the baby?
Yeah, how old's the baby?
2 years. He's turning 2 on the 7th.
Okay.
Oh, sea moss. But I thought the baby was younger because my daughter sucked her mother's breast. Listen to this. My daughter, the one that didn't go to school, sucked her mother's breast for 8 years.
Woo!
And she used to help her cousin with their homework, and she never been to school.
When my son stopped sucking his mother's breast, I went to the ocean and I got the sea moss. The sea moss has every mineral there is on the planet except one, which is iron. Sisal was eating sea moss and drinking his mild tonic, which his father made.
So about nursing, in fact, my child was in New York just a month ago, and the fellow was asking me, well, how come your son doesn't eat? I never seen your boy eat. I said, he doesn't eat but once a day. And when he eats a little bit of vegetables. And he eats that only to fill a need, I suppose, but his nutrition comes through the electrical food that I feed everyone that comes to be cured.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him how to eat once a day.
That's true. Now, so therefore, as for your child, if you want to know what to feed your child, you just come to the 𝐦𝐤𝐤 Institute. In fact, it was because of that that I received an award in Washington for changing the nutritional value of young mothers from 14 to 20. I received the award because what I recommended was equitable, and they were healthy. The child didn't have a runny nose, didn't have fevers, the coughing, the mucus which you hear rattling on the child's chest. All that comes from cow milk or soy milk. They both are dangerous. Almond milk is dangerous. Next question.
From the beginning of the journey, I've met a lot of people in my life where they always think I'm lying, or they always think the information is far-fetched. So I'm gonna show you where I took the information from, because this is their information. This is the website, historychannel.com. For those who are not familiar with the History Channel, this is the logo. Many people know about this channel, so it was or still is on Sky Digital. So as you can see, this is the information from the historychannel.com, and it says, like Carver, Ford was deeply interested in the regenerative properties of soil and the potential of alternative crops such as peanuts and soybeans to produce plastics, paint, fuel, and other products. Ford had long believed that the world would eventually need a substitute for gasoline, and supported the production of ethanol or grain alcohol as an alternative fuel. In 1942, he would showcase a car with a lightweight plastic body made from soybeans. Okay? Made from soybeans. Alright? Let's end it there. Let's see if the top infant formulas contain this thing that they call soybeans. And to be honest, we shouldn't really be finding any soy inside of infant formula, should we? But we're gonna go and check it out. We're not trying to get past the research. The research has to be done as well. So boom. But yeah, man. So soybeans turns into soy milk, and from soy milk they get tofu, and tofu they get plastic, right? And these are the things here, look, ink, rubber, glue, and plastics, and fuel for Henry Ford's cars. All right. So if that's what soy is used, yeah, they make this from soy, right? So do you think that soy should be in any infant formula?
So these are the top brands of infant formula or baby food on the market right now, and they all contain soy.
What's this now? Porridge.
Moringa is hybrid. So don't eat none of that. Okay? These green bananas are hybrid. Don't eat none of that. Breadfruit is hybrid. All of this is hybrid. The only things here that are not hybrid, and make sure you get the Jamaican or African ginger. These Scotch bonnets are 100% alkaline, but the pumpkin is alkaline. The bitter melons are alkaline, but everything else, no, the calorie is alkaline. The butternut squash is alkaline. These fig bananas are alkaline. These avocados are alkaline. But everything else here is hybrid. Okay? And no sugar cane and no nutmeg. If you boil up 3 nutmeg and you drink the water, you're gonna die in 2 minutes. Sugar cane is full of sugar, and sugar is a poison. You don't want that. Foods to feed the baby. When this becomes ripe, it can be mashed up into a baby food, okay? And you can also put that in a blender. And you can put this in the blender as well. And you can turn this into a baby food. You put it into a food processor. And this can also be baby food. The squash family, this is part of the squash family. This can be baked, or this can be cooked in the pot. I've heard people cooking this with no water and it becoming soft. So I'd highly recommend that as well. There's no need to combine the two. 𝐥𝐤𝐤 also can be stewed down and also prepared as a baby food. Coconut jelly is a baby food as well. The jelly inside of the coconut you can give to your baby also. The water is excellent, all right? And the best breakfast in the world is a glass of warm water with lime. Introduce yourself quickly.
My name's Elaine, 35, mother of 1, daughter 7 years old.
Okay, so how is the journey that you're taking in regards to making new steps in regards to what you eat?
It's not an easy journey. It's not something that I even thought I'd be looking into.
Right.
But as more and more people around me have started to bring forth their information, it's made me want to look in and actually find out what it's all about. So recently it's more to have started doing my own sort of journey with taking meat out of my everyday living. And like I say, I've got a child, so I'm trying to show her, you know, as a young lady, that these are the ways that we should be living.
Naturally. Yeah. Okay. How old is your daughter, if you don't mind my asking?
7 years old.
7.
But she's very inquisitive. If you tell her that something's good for her, she'll want to know why.
Why? Yeah. It's good to know why.
And then she, like I said, she likes to know everything. And because she's at my sister's quite a lot, she pretty much has to go by their regime.
Oh,
so then she comes home and says, "Mom, we shouldn't have that and we shouldn't have this." So she's teaching me as well as me trying to teach her.
I give thanks for that.
I'm happy that I've got the child that I have. It's like I say, it's not easy. It's one of those things that you really do have to have, you know, a strong mindset.
Discipline.
And if you are going to do it properly.
Yeah.
Don't start today, next day, and then a couple of weeks you go out and then it's out the window. Try and do your research as much as you can. Because like I say, everybody's got their sides and their stories, and everybody's journey is different.
So when you had your daughter, did you breastfeed?
I did.
Why?
Again, I kind of went on what my mum was saying, you know, breast is best. And that also changed the way that I ate and drank also, because I know that I want to be passing on anything that's good.
That's
I don't
it.
want to be passing on any sort of bacterias or any other bad things that you don't want.
Yeah,
As a mother, like I said, as a single person, I was doing whatever I wanted.
Whatever, yeah, I hear you.
But as you become a parent, I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah,
but
I hear
it was an instant defense.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Yeah.
So I didn't want anything to harm her, whether it be the food that I ate, anything that I drank, people around her, anything. It always seems like we're fighting against what is supposed to be natural.
Yeah.
They make the convenient things cheap and accessible so easily that the things that are actually good for you, you can't find it. Like I said, you've got to have those sort of people around you that are actually on that path already, been on there, they know where to get everything.
Okay.
You know, being of a Caribbean background, there's a little bit, but even some of those things, you know, go way back through slavery and stuff. So even those foods that we've grown to love as comfort are, in hindsight, actually killing us as we go along. And we are passing it on from generation to generation.
Yeah, because you are what you eat.
You literally are.
Your baby is what you eat.
And I'm not trying to do that. So I want to do best for me and for my daughter.
Naturally. Thank you, sister.
So even when you're purchasing something as innocent as a chocolate for your daughter or your son, you're purchasing soya, you know? Soya again. Soya again.
Sorry, sir. No filming here. Sorry. Excuse me.
Soya
Excuse
again.
me. It's no filming, please.
I got Queen right now. What's your question for her? Come on with it.
My question is, how can we get more sisters to cleanse themselves and keep up on a hygiene, as well as if they're in the bed with a significant other, but you know he don't want to say she smell, just on the corner that he got love for her. So how should women be cleansed when it's time to go to bed and lay with their mate?
Great question, right? Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm going to step away. That's one where they go to the ladies. Go ahead.
They are very sensitive with that. And to be able to say to them, look, there's a smell here, and it's uncomfortable, but okay. And you have to use tender, loving care.
Okay.
First, before you could even penetrate in. Because now, I'm a nutritionist, so I'm going to talk from the nutrition aspect of it. And the only way a smell can come, even if it's your breath or even under your arms, or whatever smell it is, it's coming from internal. And that smell is coming from what you've been eating, and meaning that you need to clean.
Far as a detox?
Yeah, but sometimes it's deeper than just detoxing.
So what you mean by flushing the system out and eating the right fruits so it could taste and smell a different way?
Exactly. Does she eat fish?
I'm just hypothetically going off the top.
Oh, well, a lot of times when they eat fish, they have that odor.
So fish travels through the body and sits, and next thing you know, the girl might be smelling like fish.
Yeah, or just have that funny odor. When their body is toxic, that odor can come out.
So is it good to use apple cider in the bathtub to snap back so it can bring it right back?
No.
So apple cider isn't good to soak in bath water for females to cleanse their wound out?
No.
But I was told apple cider is. You put it in the barrel from that.
We were told a whole lot of things. You can't go by what you were told, because we're told a whole lot of things. That yeast infection is so many different reasons that's causing it. But the overall general, because it is what we eat that is causing the yeast infection. Rice, starchy foods, cheese, is what we eat. And so once you have that infection, now you gotta really go through a cleansing, not just a detox, a deep cleansing. And part of that yeast infection, and they may not realize they have it, is also what causes the smell.
So they gotta check what they eat. And you know what? That expound on it.
Please.
Yeah, because that's the thoughts of the people out there.
We need to know. It is, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there is a conspiracy against us. You need to understand that. Sorry. People, please. Soy causes the brain to swell. It breaks down the nervous system. It attacks the thyroid. It breaks the mucous membrane down. It causes a tumor. How could it be for women? It is made, it is man-made. It was a fluke that it was made, and this is a scientific fact. This is not my opinion. It was made by man, not something nature made.
So it's like a hybrid.
It's a hybrid. And your body can't break it down because it's plastic.
Yeah.
Please, you got to do the research and do the surface. Don't do the surface one. Don't defend that soy. There was this movie a long time ago. It was this white stuff that everybody was eating, and they start killing people, and that's what's happening to us, all this killing and stuff.
Coming soon from you, the stuff from New World Pictures.
And stuff is that white stuff. All it is that white stuff. It has nothing. It doesn't have any minerals, nothing. Your body is made of minerals. It has absolutely nothing. And you don't need something in the place of meat. Meat is maggots. So why is everybody trying to, I need a meat replacer? What? You need something to replace maggots?
You mean to tell me that just stop eating does all of this? But of course, because what you have done, cleanse your arteries, you cleanse, your eyes clear up, your nerves get good again, you don't shake, your understanding gets better. Like C.C. Charles said he loved his wife. Of course he did, because I had removed his diabetes, I removed his poor circulation, I removed his high blood pressure. The boy is relaxed and he realized that he loved his wife. And when she came out the door and said, "You said what? I love you. I always love you." And he's crying now because he's paying back for what he did, but he wasn't guilty like you are guilty. Sometimes didn't you find yourself angry with your wife? And then you say, "I wonder why did I take it so far?" And sometimes she, on the other hand, makes us a little bit angry, right? But the only reason why she goes through her little mood swings is there again. She's going through menopause. When it gets cold outside, it's hot with her. She want to open the window on you, say, "Girl, what's wrong with you? It's cold." But she doesn't feel that because her body is out of balance. What brought it out of balance? The mucous membrane has been compromised. Every time we eat the food that God did not make, you will find yourself in trouble. Men like women. Anger, stress. So what I did, I perfected the compounds to remove the one disease that manifests in a million different ways.
If the mucus is broken in the head, it's insanity, it's paranoia, it's schizophrenia. But if the mucous membrane has been compromised in the bronchial tubes, it's bronchitis. If the mucus is in the nasal passage, it's sinusitis. So it goes. Removing the mucus, you remove all disease. It is as simple as that. Dr. Sebi is not a scientist. He's not a doctor. He's a plumber. That's all I do, clean out the pipes.
The reason why black females are facing with such a high incidence of fibroids, but the diet.
The diet.
They have taken us away from the diet that nature designed for us.
Yes.
And we have become victims, conditioned to that diet. Now, we have to turn the thing around, bring back everything that we feel, that we know is consistent with our cellular predisposition, our diet.
Okay.
Not only is it going to address certain parts, all of us, we are actually insane. We are insane. Mm-hmm. And some of us to the point that we wind up in an insane asylum. I am a product of that. I am a victim of that. I was in what you call a psychiatric ward, schizophrenic and paranoia. Later to walk out of it, to heal that, we are very, very sick. And this is the reason why I say to my brothers and sisters, if nothing else we do, let us be tolerant of each other's.
Yes.
Let's be tolerant. Don't come with too much of a philosophy or anything. Just be tolerant and share love.
Yeah.
I had a lady was bipolar. Her mother said, in Miami, my daughter is very sick. She throws things around, she cannot keep a job, she cannot sleep. Crazy people cannot sleep because it takes oxygen for someone to sleep. This is why we made the intracellular chelation to remove the acid from the brain, from the pancreas, from the liver, from the colon, making you new again. When oxygen fails to reach the brain, you cannot sleep. Sometimes I know people that were insane for 10 years, and for 10 years they did not close their eyes. But as soon as you give them a company that is compatible, that is complementary, that is godly, they begin to sleep and they love you. Simple as that. We are going to clean the body out to see the things that we need to see. You will never get them out of a book. Because if they were in a book, then I wouldn't be standing here, right? That's right. So now, what do we begin with? In the morning, you want to strengthen your bones and your nerve and your energy, uplifting sea moss. When you wake up in the morning, you drink a big mug of sea moss. Do not sweeten it with sugar. If you put sugar in it, you have just adulterated it. You drink it without the sugar or with maple syrup. When you wake up, you drink your cup of sea moss, and you drink 2 glasses of water, and you take off for work. That's all you need. At noontime, you could eat a salad or a fruit. In the evening time, that's when you could eat, you know, your mushrooms, your squash, your quinoa, grain, quinoa, Q-U-I-N-O-A. Quinoa is a grain that comes from South America. You could also buy wild rice, which is natural.
see, disease have you doing some stupidity. Like living in a house with the same woman and not speak to her for 17 years. I know cases like that. Disease, that's that. It happened right in the West Indies. I paid a man to live in the same with his wife for 17 years, did not say a word to her. But as soon as his diabetes left, and his penis started getting hard, and his back wasn't hurting, he tells me, he said, hey, go knock on that window and tell that lady that I love her. I said, Charles, you did not hire me to go and mediate between you and your wife. You hired me to heal your body. I know, man, I want you to do me a favor. Go tell the woman I love her because she lived there. You know, he brought the story down to me. But it was his disease, wasn't the woman? He said, tell you what, I'll go with you. And we both go together. So I went together with Charles. And I knocked on the woman's door. And she opened it half. You know, it was a door that opened, you know, these doors that open. Dutch door. Yes, one half and other half. She opened the top half. She said, hi. But when she opened the top half, he was behind it. But she didn't know. So I'm standing there. She said, hi. I said, hi. But I've been going to the house for 6 months, dealing with this man. I've not seen this woman. I have not seen this woman. She says, oh, I know who you are. Like all women, they know everything, and which is a fact. That's not saying it facetiously. Woman knows everything. Women think you guys don't know, but that's a lie. I know different. Woman knows everything. So this woman said to me, I know who you are. You're that healer that come from St. Croix. I said, yes, ma'am. Well, I'll tell you what, Charles is doing good, and I know he's doing good because he's in the yard, he's watering the lawn, he's doing this, he's doing that, and he looks good. I said, man, Charles is standing right behind this window. Oh, he has something to tell you. Oh, yeah? Like a woman, she came out and stood right in front of Charles. Hi, Charles. Been 17 years you spoke to me, Charles. How come today? I said, oh, God. I mean, that kind of punishment I don't want. I don't ever want a woman to talk to me like that. I mean, that's embarrassment. That's utter embarrassment. He said, he played with his fingers. And she's standing there, well, I just want to tell you that I love you. Well, I know that. You were just sick, boy. Hey, she hugged him. I mean, this was the most beautiful thing that I've seen in my healing journey. Because he then told me, I want you to heal her because she has some very close veins. Her sugar was kind of high, but she was not as bad. Her pressure was kind of high, and she was a little bit too heavy. Look, in a year's time, she was slim and nice, and he was strong. They went on a honeymoon on one of these Norwegian trips. Now tell me about disease. Remember when I got there, he had diabetes. He was impotent, had gout. Oh, forgot about the gout. The gout was eating him up. That's right. Now, I had this man with gout, diabetes, and a whole bunch of other stuff, living in the front part of the house, and the woman in the back, and he did not speak to her. Why? Do you think he didn't love her? Sure he did. But his disease preventing him from letting go, from reaching out and hugging. You know, the hug? I mean, I need love. I love love. I love a whole lot of it. The more I get, the better I feel. So in order for me to be a recipient of this love that I so like and need, am I not supposed to be a giver of it too? I mean, that is how simple it is. I mean, that's the love that I expect from each and every person that I meet, because that is all I have to give. But when I was eating meat, and I had my diabetes, and I was wearing my glasses and was impotent, I didn't like nobody. I couldn't like you or anyone else because I didn't like me. Because I was sick. I was eating the food that was forced on my forebears, and that was starch and milk, which obstructed my arteries, confused my brain, brought inflammation to my prostate gland, had my nerves so bad. So you see, going back to God. So we have to now find a means to wean away from this food that we call, this stuff we call food. Because we're sick, we're impotent, we're going blind, we're diabetics, we got bad nerves, we have short patience. And the one ingredient that is so missing for this journey To be understood and accepted is the thing that I said I like, which is love. But it is not the word itself. It is that electrical communication that is between you and the other person or everybody besides yourself. But to be able to reach there, to accomplish that place that you want to be comfortable with, you have to provide yourself the environment inside of yourself. And that environment could not be provided by eating meat. Just cannot. It's impossible. Love leave. When you put meat in your mouth, love leave you. Why? Because love says you don't like yourself. Because this stuff was not designed for you to eat. Your body was not designed to consume meat or milk or cheese or butter or eggs. So love leaves and leave you hanging, hating yourself and everybody else, and everybody's going to start hating you. But as soon as you get off of it, you find that love enters, and everybody see you now, just smile. Like I remember living in Honduras as a little boy. There was a man that used to always pass cursing. Some very nasty words, but we got used to his nasty words, cursing everybody. And everybody just get away from it. And one day, he stopped cursing, and he was clean. Something happened. He got a wife, and everybody would walk up to him and ask him, how did he do it? But you see, the things I entertain, I cannot share with my brothers and my sisters and my friends. I said, because it is too controversial. Yet consistent, but controversial. I said, what you're lacking of is oxygen. And the oxygen of the black race does not go through his nose hole. It goes through his body pores. You will never see a naked man crazy. I have done it so many times. When people have delirium tremens, or pure insanity, I said, take his clothes off. Take his clothes off, and I gave him a compound, and he calmed right down, because his body would be receiving more oxygen. But I'm covered up. All you see is my hand from hair to hair, and from hair to hair. My cells are dying under there. Do you know what happens when cells are deprived of oxygen? No, you don't know. You don't know. They talk about AIDS being the result of a germ, a virus, or a bacteria. No. They've never been a virus or a bacteria or a germ. Never in existence. Nature never made those things. That would be counterproductive. So for every virus, a new medicine. Look how that sounds. If you take a healthy man and lay him down on a bed, and don't move him for 1 month, raise him up, and behind his back, you have a bed so that big, with microbes eating him out. Well, the clothes are not going to make you have a sore immediately because you have some circulation, some place. But your skin going to begin to deteriorate. And they call it wrinkles. Deprivation of oxygen causes cell erosion. Cell erosion is uncontrolled mitosis. But the healers in New York was giving you substance to deprive your body of oxygen, and then because I came, getting the result that the Usha Research Institute has been getting, they had a meeting, just get rid of this man. What does that say about the healers today? You see what happens when information comes. The nervous system tells you when that information is right. There is something in you, even if you deny that information, you're gonna pay. The first person he should have studied was who? Himself. But that person was removed from him. And now we are vulnerable. We are vulnerable with this so devastating thing we call disease that goes deeper than you and I would ever realize. It goes so deep. Disease goes so deep. First, it does one thing. Above all, it breaks your energy. It takes away your energy first. Then it breaks your will. And then it begins to eat more away on you. It's going to own you now. It's going to make you hate yourself for the rest of your life until you die. I know I was on the verge of killing myself because I was diabetic. At 29, diabetic. Asthmatic from birth. Impotent at 29. Could not have sex, but was not afraid to talk about it. Because many men have a problem with that. Oh, they talk about their arm is no good. They talk about being diabetic. But when you talk about sex, no way. You don't get any man to talk about that. Yet it is the very thing that begin to divide this house. But the poor individual doesn't know that it's not his fault. And having poor sex is just as bad as having poor eyes or hating your neighbor. It stems from the same cause. The same cause. And this is the very food that we are eating, a convenient food. The one that is so accessible, the one that is so cheap, but the one that is so devastating that our brothers now are suffering impotence, I said. Our sisters, she suffers impotence too. Oh, don't think that just men suffer impotence. I know women in their 20s don't want to have no sex. Their reproductive organ is so jammed up, they don't even want to think of sex, can't even do it. Why? Because of the food that was removed from us? Yes. The African biomineral balance is necessary because the food that was consistent with us in Africa, we don't even know it now. None of you had no, including me. What I did with the Usha Institute, what we have done, was to find the plants that contain the amount of electricity that would begin the regeneration of cells and give you energy. So we had to go to the tropics to find those herbs. Because we came from where? We came from the temperate region or the tropics. We came from the tropics. We went to the tropics, go to the tropics all the time and get these herbs, high in alkaline, give them to you. In 5 minutes, you're telling me how good you feel already. And anywhere that mucus concentrates, it leaves the name of the disease. And the mucus only comes when you have injected something that did not belong in your body. And if you want a beautiful test, try this one, and then you will see. Stop eating for 21 days. Just drink water and juices, and then occasionally a fruit or so. Just don't eat anything. At the ending of 21 days, you're going to feel very good. You're going to feel very healthy and strong and light. And then you go and sit in front of some fat bag and a glass of milk. And you're going to be sneezing, and your nose is going to get tight. In fact, many of you sitting in here, noses get tight already. I could sit all the way from here and hear that little baby with mucus in his chest. The little baby that she's holding. baby's chest. You see how young that baby is? And the baby already has mucus on his chest. Of course. Now imagine that baby holding that mucus in his chest without someone reaching out to really help that baby. That mucus would be there until time immemorial, eating away the lining of his chest, his bronchial tubes, his lungs. And then one day the baby get a fever, then the baby get pneumonia, then the baby passes because someone did not come in time to really help the baby because they did not know what was going on. That's all disease, mucus. Carrots are good for your eyes. They contain vitamin A. But in reality, it has starch. And starch is converted in the body into carbonic acid. God did not make anything that contains starch. That is the secret, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the very secret. There is nothing on the planet that contains starch that God made. If God had made a substance on the planet that contains starch, God is saying that he does not like his children. Because starch will kill you gradually. It will clog your intestines. It will play havoc on your brain and really do a number on your nervous system. Where when someone talk to you or tell you something, the first thing you think is a lie. But you have to believe it's a lie. That the little girl in New York, when she said, "Do you really cure AIDS?" I said, "What do you think?" "I think you're lying." I said, "You're right. I want you to know that you're 100% right. So I'll see you later." So I left. I was happy because I understood why she said that I was lying. You understand now? The 400 years of starch in me. I'm lucky she didn't kill me. You know, little boys kill their mama now for $5 to buy crack, you know. So just behave ourselves. And that little boy did not start by using crack yesterday. He was groomed for crack by upsetting his hormonal flow, interfering with his energy and his nervous system. So he was the prime candidate for for crack and cocaine. Of course, and alcohol. What you mean? When I drink alcohol, you get a boost, you know. You get stimulated. But isn't this what food's supposed to do? To keep you boosted and healthy, where you don't need no crack and no alcohol. All you need is some water and some good loving. And give some. And it makes things very easy. Very, very easy. Understanding. Fibroid tumors are holding on to your body, caused by mucus that is adhered to your walls and membranes. I would like for someone to scientifically show me how manipulation, you're going to go in there and release this, just take this away from the walls. I have to see it. You know? You see, I'm the individual that see. You don't tell me things. You show me. No, I disagree. There will be no manipulation to remove no fibroids. The only way it could be removed is that something go into the bloodstream. Say, just the wall, and just the fibroid, hanging onto the walls. When you give someone a substance that goes into the bloodstream, and that substance has to be consistent with removing things from the wall of the intestines, or from the wall of the individual. Removing things that does not belong in you. That is potassium phosphate, a dibasic. And we manufacture that, and we are the only people in the United States that's doing that now. As it adheres, as the substance enters the bloodstream, it goes in the walls and pushes things away. Doctors try to cut it out, but there is no knife that could separate this fibroid from the walls of your uterus. You're going to cut into you now. Or if it doesn't cut into you, you're going to have to leave some in there, and that's infection. But if you give the person something to drink that goes with the bloodstream, and where doesn't the blood go? So fibroid tumors is when the mucous membrane has been broken down into reproductive organs, and they begin to accumulate, Small, little balls, they cannot see anything. And when they see them, oh, they're fibroids. And then the fibroids get bigger. And then they burst, become cancer. But it begin with what? Thank you. The wrong food that you've been eating. And I had an example of that in Dominica. And the lady told me to always call her name, Ophelia Olivaci. She said to mention this, not to be ashamed to mention her name. Ophelia came to me and she had tumors and vaginal discharge profusely and the whole other bit. And she said, you know, that she'd been to doctors, gynecologists, OB/GYN and the whole bit. She'd been to France. This is in Dominica now, in West Indies. And I told her to, I gave her the compounds and the douches, and after about a month or so, she was walking around without any panties. Her vagina was dry, and she was happy. In fact, she even showed it to me, so I could see. And she walked around without no panties. And guess what happened? This was the strangest thing that I was told this by someone, and I put it into motion this particular day. I said to her, I want you to have sex with your husband now. She had not had sex in about a month and a half. I said, have sex with Mark, and she did. And when she had sex with Mark, 2 days later, her vagina was dripping. I mean like a faucet. Now why? If I had cleansed her vagina, how come it's dripping now? You know why? It was draining down like a faucet. Because we learned that when we cleanse the woman's reproductive organ, and we have not cleansed her mate, baby, when your mate eat eggs and cheese and butter and milk and bread and coffee, and that goes into his body, that makes up the sum total of his hormonal flow and his hormone, his sperm is manufactured out of what? Acid substance. And now when you ejaculate the sperm into your uterus, you need any more than that? No, you don't. You're gonna break. You're gonna, oh boy, you're gonna discharge all that stuff into this acid. I know a sister divorced her husband because of that. See how things happen. No, you don't. You could drink the spirulina, it's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to feed you any energy. I'll tell you what, spirulina is an algae.
Is it a natural?
Algae, it is natural, 100% natural. But the difficulty is this. In the natural kingdom of life, substance that retain their strength and electrical value are the roots, the barks, the berries, over a period of time, up to a year. Some barks up to 6 years. They will retain their strength, their electrical value. As for an algae or a leaf, 45 minutes after you have removed that substance from its life source, it's dead, completely dead. But the difference is that if you were to sit by a spirulina lake, that you could eat the spirulina after you harvest it, you would get healthier, you would be healthier and get more energy than any root or bark or berry. But you have to use it before 45 minutes. I took some people to the jungles of Central America, and I had them eating plants, like this is the plant. This is the plant. I said, don't remove the plant from the source of its life. Just remove the leaf and eat the stem, because the stem is delicious and succulent. And they ate it all the way down. But as they was eating, wasn't that plant still continuing to get light from its source? Sure. So I unrooted some and held it for about half an hour. I said, eat it now. And they did not feel the toes buzzing and the energy that they felt while eating the one that was still growing. So spirulina is no good. But good if you're eating it at the source of life. This was not told. And then they even bastardize that by adding barley to it. They call it green magma. And barley is starch, so they have adulterated spirulina. But pure spirulina, no good after 45 minutes. Acupuncture. What is acupuncture, ask? Oh, it is the intercepting of the nerve endings. I said, fine, why does your nerve endings want to be intercepted? They want to be the transmitter of energy from A to B. Why you want to intercept? Well, we want to intercept to go into the body that the person would not feel the pain and look. That's viciousness. Open the human body. That's adulteration. It was not made to be open. It would have a zip on it, right? Okay. So she boiled the plant, me say ma oui. Who from the island? And anyone from the island? Anyone been to the island? Okay, those of you who've been to the island, do you remember in Jamaica or any place that you've been, there's a plant that grows that when you touch it, it goes to sleep? Has a lot of thorns on it. They call it dead and wake. Oh, you remember that? Thank you very much. That is the plant. That plant is very powerful. There should be no impotence in males, because baby, it grows on my man like mad. So you know I got it by the truck loads, because I don't want to be weak in that area no more. So,
and as for the sisters, you see this boy here, isn't it? All over the place. It's right in the yard next door. In the fields, it grows crazy. And what is this? This is called what? Red clover. Nothing better for a woman uterus than this. You make a douche with this and you drink it. You drink this and you also make it for a douche. Like if you take a good handful of it, a good lot of it, boil some water, put it to soap, you make a douche. Endometriosis, vaginal discharge, weak muscles, whatever. Red clover. But you see, we were not shown these things in school, right? So we don't know. But it's right there for us, right in the next yard. There is life, not in the supermarket. Neither of them could see or fathom that the very cassava that they eat 3 times a day is responsible for division. Not unity, division. You didn't get that.
There's one in our whole bag. We want to go inside and deacidify the blood. We give the douche to cleanse that specific area where the concentration is most. But if you want relief from the itching and the discomfort, it would immediately show you that. But you still have to go inside to get the whole therapy. But you could use it, it helped tremendously, yes.
You have not had the proper cleansing. When you receive the proper cleansing, don't your ear be clogged sometimes? Of course. The ear, the eye, the throat, all that is clogged because it's up here. And now when I begin to bring it down, she's going to begin to feel bad. But only for a couple of days. And she's going to spit up a lot of stuff, blow out a lot of stuff. Just, it's going to begin to leave you. Young ladies, I know that this happens to most of you in your very early age of 65 and 70 and 80. And you know, I just had a case in Tennessee. And this is not going to cost you a dime. And all of you who have bladder problems, poor urine retention, they even make a special diapers for us now, Retain. You want to see how good this plan is? I want you, don't pay me any money, don't come to see me. Go straight to the herb store and buy yourself some chickweed. Put that down, please. Chickweed. That's right. 𝐦𝐸𝐷. Chick, like chicken. WEED. You buy yourself some chickweed and make a tea. Not only is this good for you, it's good for me. It strengthens my prostate gland instead of me getting up 10 times a night. You understand? Chickweed, man. And in less than 2 days, she's talking to us about her condition in her head. Where else does she have the condition? In her throat, that's right. In her throat. In your throat. There's a lot of mucus in the throat. When the head is obstructed, there's the throat, the esophagus. It's a mucus thing. So we have to drain the mucus from her head. Her nervousness comes because of that. And I remember when I used to be nervous, I couldn't stay still because of my nerve, and it was the mucus in my head. And I was blowing my nose for about a month when I began my own therapy. I was blowing my nose for a month.
Whenever you hear the pH of 7, it is neutral. That is what you find in distilled water. Nature doesn't make distilled water. Water becomes distilled when you remove the minerals from it, you deionize it. It becomes what? Distilled. But God does not make distilled water, and it is very dangerous to drink distilled water. Yet, many healers tell you, drink distilled water. It would rob you of your minerals because it is processed by man.
Africa, Brazil, the Caribbean, Central America, grows a plant they call cassava. It contains cyanide. It eats up your brain. The people in Nigeria, before they go home, they pick it up at the gas station, call it gari. They add water to it, and it is a starch mush that you eat with meat. This starch mush is so dangerous that if you give it to a hog, it would die. The milk like cassava would die, that hog would die in 2 minutes. When if a rattlesnake or a cobra bites a hog, he would wind up eating the snake. But if you drink the cassava juice, he is dead in 2 minutes. The Africans eat that lunch and dinner. The Brazilian eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
But I know what it is to be constantly connected because my wife was dying one night in Dominica. She had lockjaw. She was dying. She was contaminated by a bacteria in the water that she was drinking in St. Croix. And my wife was dying, lockjaw, stiff already, blind. What books do you know exist that show you the cure for lockjaw? There are none. There aren't any books in the world, whether herbal or otherwise. Where did I get the message from? Like Lisa said, when you cleanse, you become clear. You could see. You see with your stomach. The cleaner the stomach, the better you could see. My wife is alive, 21 years later. I put the herb on her head. The quickest way to her brain. When your lockjaw is central nervous system problem. Oh, you think that the honey that you buy in a health food store is the natural honey. Like Lisa said, it says natural on them, but as you look close into this bee that makes this honey, he's a hybrid. He was made in a laboratory. So when you put the cow, you have to put the cow over here, right? And we put the bee, we've got to put it there too. The Bible talks about milk and honey, and the Bible is right. But what milk are you going to drink? Not this stupid cow. Because when you take the pH of this milk, it's 6. But when you take the pH of a buffalo, or a tiger, or a yak, the pH is 8 point. Telling you, because the animal is natural, the milk has to be alkaline. The Italians are doing something new. They are making, what do you call this thing, this cheese, mozzarella, out of the buffalo milk. But it costs 3 times that which the other ordinary milk, mozzarella, costs. Why? Because they know it's alkaline. It has to cost more money because it's fewer, it's lesser in quality, not in quantity. This honey, you can't get this honey but once a year. This honey is alkaline. This honey is so powerful that when the woman has vaginal discharge in Honduras, all they do is make a suppository and put it up there and it's gone in 24 hours. When the child has airway, a drop in the air, the airway is gone. And recently, about a year ago, a friend of mine who come to the village said, my little girl always gets a ball under her eye, and the doctors cut it out, but it goes back, and it goes back. I said, put the honey in her eye. He put a drop of honey in her eye, never go back. Then he brought his father that had a cataract on his eye. He put a drop each day. A week later, it was gone. This is a honey that's made from a bee. They call the mole because he's black. The Spanish people in Honduras, the Indian people from the forest, call it Morocco. Well, land is a beast. He's the biggest beast was ever made. But yet they trick us because the Catholics have Jesus with a lamb in his arm. So you say, well, wow, he's a good shepherd. He's kind, but he got this little beast in his arm. And you don't know he's a beast. This little animal they call a lamb is where they found what? Remember, the early researchers in AIDS were not physicians. They were vets, veterinarians. They were vets. I know, because I followed it. So the vets found that in the HIV, there's anthrax and bovine together. The bovine come from what? The cow. And the anthrax from what? From the lamb. So when you weigh wool, what you think on that wool? Just put it on a microscope and you're going to see what's on it. So you think that God made a lamb too, right? No, God didn't. What has cyanide? Cyanide, cassava, high, the highest, come from Africa, come from the Caribbean. They grow it all over. Cassava, starch, fills your fats. Rice, wheat, wheatgrass, cyanide. Anything that has starch has cyanide.
See, we've been tricked about food in dealing with taste. There are many foods that taste good, that are poisons. Cyanide does not have a bad taste, they say, but it's poison.
But all we remember is iron. Iron is one of the minerals that I use consistently because it has so much energy to it. Children that have ADD, attention deficit disorder, in 8 hours, the coolest dude on the planet. No riddling. So we need to give our children iron. Yes, next question.
Is the refined foods. But not diabetes, that's the least of all. Let me tell you all something. Anybody that put meat in their mouth is suffering with parasites in their brain and their stomach. Didn't we see on CNN where this man was looking at this worm under the membrane of his eye? When you look in the mirror, he saw a worm in his hair, in his eyes. Well, what do you expect? You eat meat. You gotta have worms. Like when you take a rotten potato, it turns to what? Worms. But when you take something natural, it never rots in the first place. It dries up, it never rots. Nothing that is natural rots.
Do you think parasites are connected with a lot of the diseases we have today?
No.
I think it exists. I don't think it's a big problem.
Are you interested in knowing what parasites do to you?
Probably, I mean, yeah.
Probably not for me. I'll be honest, it doesn't really interest me. There's tons of people that have parasites and don't even know it.
It's a big, very big issue. At the beginning, I didn't believe that I had parasites.
People need to cleanse more often.
I did. I had parasites. That was nasty thing.
I was really shocked when I found out that this is something that affects every single living human, in fact, every single living organism on the face of the earth.
I experienced parasites coming out of my body about 3, 4, 5 times.
You could be leading a healthy lifestyle. You could be jogging, eating raw food, taking vitamins, and all those kind of things, but these guys don't care. These guys are persistent. They're dangerous. They're deadly. They've been around for millions of years. They know what they're doing, and they're inside of all of us, and we're constantly being exposed to this.
There's definitely a problem with it.
There's a war going on, and it's going on inside every one of us, and this is something that we all need to take very seriously.
This is not science fiction. This is scary, it's real, and it's serious. Monsters living inside us that eat our bodies and control our emotions, urges, and thoughts. A Discover magazine feature article said that every living thing has at least one parasite that lives inside of it, and humans have far more. This silent issue is so important, former President Jimmy Carter is putting intensive efforts into increasing global awareness of this serious issue.
As a colon hydrotherapist for approximately 21 years now, you wouldn't believe what I see coming out of people's bodies.
This is not just a third world country thing. Everybody has them. Even normal people with lots of money living in suburbia who take showers 3 times a day. If you eat sushi, you have parasites. 1 square inch of raw sushi meat can contain 10,000 parasite larvae and eggs that begin hatching inside you the minute you eat it. The most common kind is tapeworms, which can grow to 60 feet long and live in your intestines for decades.
When I have clients that absolutely love sushi, I find that they have an inordinate amount of that particular problem, of like clusters of parasites.
If you have pets, you are guaranteed to have parasites. It doesn't matter if you're vegetarian, raw foodist, vegan, or macrobiotic. Even the healthiest and richest people on earth have parasites. You can't kill them all, only control them, because our bodies have trillions of cells which rely on helpful bacteria like probiotics to work right. If we kill all the organisms in our body, we kill ourselves. The secret is to keep the bad guys to a minimum. Make our bodies so healthy and clean, the undesirable guests won't want to stick around. Don't feed them the junk food they love. Sweet stuff, bread, alcohol, rice, pasta, milk, cookies, crackers, cereal, meat, cheese, cooked foods, refined carbohydrates, soft drinks, commercial fruit juices, junk foods. They love the food you love and hate the food you hate. Even letting yourself become run down energetically allows them to get stronger. So who's winning, you or them? There are hundreds of thousands of types of parasites, ranging from huge worms to the single-celled amoebas that can cross the blood-brain barrier and begin digesting your brain and other organs like your liver, heart, and kidneys. They are silent. They move very slowly so you don't feel them or know they're there. That's how they want it. If you don't know they're there, then you won't do anything about it. They are smart. Parasites are living alien creatures who live off of others. They eat your food. They poop their waste inside you, making your blood, lymph, and tissues toxic. We are living in their sewage. Did you know 1/3 of your poop isn't even yours? It's waste that's been pooped out by parasites. You think you're clean? Think again. Everyone has parasites. They're everywhere. It's almost impossible not to come in contact with them. They are in the air. You can breathe them in. A single handshake can transfer over 500,000 organisms. Anything other people touch, shopping carts, door handles, toilet seats, doorknobs, signature pens, daycare centers, diaper changes, and pets, which pick up tiny unseen organisms from the ground they walk on, carpeting, grass, dirt, lawns, especially grass and lawns that have been used for defecating. Animals lick their butt and then lick their fur, and then you pet that fur, absorbing parasites directly into your skin, while others wait for you to put your hand near your face, where they enter through the nose, mouth, and eyes. They eat your food and use your body as a breeding ground, sucking you dry of nutrition, energy, and life force. Some worms can lay millions of eggs a day. If you break apart a tapeworm, the broken part can regrow into another worm. Common signs of parasites are you're tired a lot, sleeping problems, constant itching, weakness, headaches, lack of appetite, or hungry all the time, especially for sweet foods and carbs, flu-like symptoms, depression, skin problems, acne, arthritis, joint pains, eczema, dermatitis, sinus problems, breathing and lung problems like pneumonia, then uncontrollable coughing, lumps under the skin, cysts, diarrhea and constipation, sometimes alternating back and forth, mucus in your stool, irritable bowel syndrome, stomach aches, cramps, digestion problems, nausea, overly dry lips, vision and eye problems, gas, bloating. Parasites can burrow into your brain and cause nerve damage and eye problems. They can multiply so much in your gut what you think is fat may in fact be entire nests of parasites. They can clog up your digestive tract so much no food can get through, making you constipated. They love to live in your stomach and intestines because that's where all the food goes and you feed them every day. As a matter of fact, it's said that almost every health condition known can be connected with parasites in some way.
I've seen actual tapeworms come out of a person. It looked like flat, long spaghetti strands. 2 of them.
A 40-foot tapeworm can have 3,000 to 4,000 segments, each one of which can grow into its own piece. It can lay over 1 million eggs a day. If you are skinny and have trouble gaining weight, or have ever had a dog lick your face, if you have abdominal cramping or appendix pains, or liver, gallbladder, pancreas issues, or lung problems, you might very well be host to 1 or more huge tapeworms. Pinworms. If you have sleeping problems, itchy butt, joint pain, or female problems, those are common pinworm symptoms. Whipworms are a type of roundworm that secretes a digestive fluid that liquefies your colon wall so they can eat it. Over 1 billion people have whipworms. Roundworms look like fat spaghetti and are one of the most common human infections. One roundworm can lay 2 million eggs per day, and they can live for years. They hatch in your colon, then penetrate the intestinal wall, enter the bloodstream and lymph system, and then make their way to the liver, heart, and eventually the lungs, where they grow to 2 inches long, pass through the air sacs into the throat, causing uncontrollable coughing, where they are swallowed so they can go back down in the intestines, where they lay more eggs and start the whole thing all over again. Roundworms cause pneumonia-like symptoms, breathing problems, chest tightness, asthma, heart problems, fluid retention, mucus in the lungs, nagging cough, digestive problems, stomach pains, cramping, nausea, bloating, malnutrition, protruding stomach, and intestinal blockages. Sushi is one of the major sources of tapeworms, which can grow to over 50 feet long in your intestines. Walking barefoot is a good way to pick them up, not just in dirt and grass or in the house of pets, but also the beach. Hookworms. Remember the movie Alien? Hookworms have 4 sets of teeth so they can eat your intestinal walls and suck your blood. People with hookworms lose a lot of blood and don't even know it. Parasites can penetrate the placenta in a pregnant woman and enter the baby. They can even be passed through breast milk. Parasites can even contribute to infertility and childbirth difficulties. If a child is born, it can have retarded mental and physical abilities. People with parasites are never living life to its fullest capacity because they are sucked dry of energy, minerals, nutrition. They are tired all the time, depressed, and barely alive. All of their life force goes to the parasites.
We're all subject to this, like it or not. It's a fact.
Tests done at funeral homes show that 97% of the body fluids in people were totally consumed with parasites and worms. Scientists are just beginning to discover exactly how powerful and disturbing these hidden monsters can be. Our cells are controlled by chemical signals. Parasites emit a chemical that directly affects our behavior, thoughts, decisions, and urges. Think about that. Something inside us that's not us, causing us to make unsafe decisions, so we eat, drink, and do things that benefit the parasite, including physical contact with other people so the parasite can spread. Why do we eat foods and do things we know are bad for us? Why is this so hard to resist? They look like snakes. Even the book of the 𝐤𝐨𝐵𝐞 refers to the parasite as Satan, the serpent living inside us, tempting us, ruining our health, breaking apart our relationships, and ruining our lives.
Throughout all of history, they've been warning us. Think about it. From the very beginning, Adam and Eve were tempted by the serpent. What's really creepy is the thought there's a serpent within each of us, tempting us to do things we really shouldn't. In this engraving from the 1500s, we can see Adam and Eve feeding the serpent, the parasite. To many, true health and being in a loving monogamous relationship is paradise, and feeding the serpent exiles you from paradise.
Everything is more connected than you think. What you eat, who and what you touch, your health, your moods, your relationships, everything. What can you do about it? Start by doing the right thing. Don't give in to temptation. Clean your environment and your body. Stop eating foods that feed parasites. Do it.
Meat is 100% acidic, so it shoots you right to the red part of the pH scale. Now, why is this bad? because disease and sickness can only fester itself if the body is full of mucus, or the disease can find like mucus or pus within the body in order to host and fester itself. Now, when you eat meat, you eat acidic foods, like I just told you, pork sits on your esophagus and your stomach. Not just that, in you allow meat to bring mucus and pus into your body, which this is where diseases can fester and manifest themselves and have something to feed off and grow from. When you eat alkaline foods, you clean your body and you purify your body and you rid your body of all mucus and pus which can be contained within you, and disease has nowhere to sit or host itself or manifest itself so that it can grow, and therefore it cannot exist in the body. So even like, I know y'all probably heard of Dr. Sebi, who uses alkaline foods to cure people of diseases. That's a fact. Alkaline foods rid your body of all impurities, including mucus and pus, to where the disease can fester itself. So just by being a vegetarian or eating alkaline foods only, you can literally live a life free of diseases no matter what, because the disease will have nowhere to host itself within your body. So that's reason 2 why eating meat is bad, because now you opening the door to diseases when you can shut it no matter what, if you just live naturally and allow nature to do what it does naturally for you. Reason 3 why eating meat is bad is because, like people say, you are what you eat. You take on the energies and characteristics of the animal in which you eat. Example, if you look at nature, all carnivores or animals that eat meat are aggressive, extremely predatory. Look at lions, look at tigers, jaguars, panthers, crocodiles, whatever eats meat. Snakes, they're aggressive, they sneaky, they're just predator. They just carry the characteristics of the animal kingdom. You look at beings in the same animal kingdom who eat herbs, fruits, nuts. They're more peaceful, like deers, mooses, rabbits. They're more peaceful animals. Why is this important? Because nature shows you what the energies of eating certain foods will manifest in you emotionally. If you look at the black community, most black people eat steak, pork, I don't even have to go on. Y'all already know what it is. Chitlins, everything. But look at the level of murder. Look at the level of aggression. Look at the level of violence in the black community. You eating like an animal and you're taking on the characteristics of an animal. And then you wonder why nothing's getting better, because you are what you eat. The fact that your diet contains blood and meat, you are vibrating yourself down to the level of an animal. The animal that you're eating, or the animal that would eat on the same animal that you're eating. So you are putting yourself from a godly plane, an alkaline plane, all the way down to an acidic plane or an animal plane. So you're taking yourself from a human diet to an animal diet, and then you wonder why emotionally you feel like an animal all day, or people around you act like animals all day. So that's reason 3 why eating meat is bad. Heaven or hell is not places. When you die, there's no golden place with white clouds that you're going to go to. Heaven or hell is the state of the body, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Achieving heaven mentally is to be at peace with yourself mentally, and that only comes from understanding. And you can't have understanding unless you have knowledge, and you're willing to accept that knowledge no matter how much it hurts your ego, and use it for the betterment of humanity. For 2, heaven comes from your diet. Alkaline foods free you from diseases, rid you from diseases, and keep you peaceful, and they give you life because they hold oxygen upon eating them, which is the life force. Acidic foods, meats, lower your spiritual vibration, take you down to an animal plane, and make you susceptible to all the feelings of an animal, such as anger, aggression, jealousy, being extraterritorial, being predatory. So you actually taking yourself to heaven and hell, not just through your behaviors, but through your mental behaviors, but through your physical behaviors as well. The main one being your diet. Like I say, get rid of that religion, and go back to understanding the science of the universe, and because you and the universe is the same thing. But 2, clean your diet up. When you clean your diet up, I guarantee you will clean up the way you feel on a daily basis, and you will become more positive.
Egyptians knew that this animal is the mutation that occurred during the crossbreeding of the dad, a dog and a cat, and the rat. The pig was cloned through genetic splicing for a specific purpose. Their crossbreeding is the result of 3 animals: the rat, the cat, and the dog.
So a pig is just a rat, cat, and a dog gene spliced together. Specifically, a bobcat, a hyena, and a muskrat creates a pig. So every time you eat a pig, you're eating a hyena, a muskrat, and a bobcat. So the pig, like, it explains itself. It's the lowest level of animal on the planet, let alone it's not even supposed to be here. It's not even a natural animal.
Darn Elijah Muhammad, the person that taught me and woke me up about pork and everything else I know that makes any sense, told me that it was made from the cat, the rat, and the dog. We can see some of those animals in it because the pig also has whiskers. It has a lot of things, as I said, that once you see a pig, it's a whole different. Once I saw a cow, I wasn't that impressed. Or a chicken, or turkey. I've seen some other animals. Even a cat and a dog. But once you see a pig, it really changes your idea about using it for food, or watching anybody else use it for food, or kissing anybody that's using it for food. Yeah. And, you know, a sister can be out and be mighty fine, be beautiful. We are beautiful. The messenger say that's the one thing you all should be aware of, the enticing beauty of women. Right. That's very difficult. It's hard to heal. But we can be looking beautiful and be dressed to the nines in whatever it is that they're wearing. And then a man who has some consciousness about diet can watch her start eating a barbecue rib and she becomes ugly. And a brother can be very fine, very handsome, very clean, very sharp, very intelligent, and have a good rap and be running and have a nice car and everything that we look at. And then he can start eating a piece of sausage and an egg and we recognize there ain't nothing I can do with that. That's too much work. If he that old and still eating hog in 2002, I just don't have that kind of time to put in it no more. You know, the pig's behavior becomes reflected in our behavior. You know, and I can give you one straight analogy. You never go out in the street and see a vegetarian out there cussing and fighting and acting a fool. They don't have that nature for that. You'd have to really do something to them to make them become that aggressive. But a person that eats pork, he tend to act like that beast. His eyes be red and bloodshot like him. You know, a pig don't have no shame. Once he births the baby pigs, if you don't take them from him, he'll eat them too. Now, this is the kind of worm. This is the worm that everybody's talking about that's in the pig. Now, the one on the left is the female. She got an ovary and a vagina and a vulva. She's got intestines. The mouth is up at the top, the oral opening. She's got a rectum. I mean, this is, you know, many of the things that most other living mammals and creatures have. Now, that's the male on the right. He's the smaller one. He's got testes, intestines, a mouth, and he got a penis. Now, when these two worms mate, they can, I mean, it's just phenomenal of how many they can reproduce in a short time. And so, once the worm gets into the body, as I said, I went to CDC, I wanted to see an autopsy of certain limbs to find out how did the trichina worm look. You know what it looks like? A tiny granule of salt. Really more like a tiny grain of sand. It's hard just like that. And that's the shell that the worm, it curls up into a curlicue. This is it stretched out. And it secretes the stuff out the mouth that makes a shell around it. It comes up as tiny little white spots in between the joints. In fact, when you go to the doctor, they tell you got calcium on the joints. It looks just tiny little white specks in between your bones. A lot of that stiffness we have, because my mother fed me hog, she didn't know any better. My grandmother fed it to her, she didn't know any better. They weren't eating to live, they were just eating to fill up. So anyway, when I read the autopsy report, I'm getting to that, I wanted to know why it wasn't listed on there that the person had these trichina worms, these little white specks in the muscles. They say they don't list routine things, and that's in everybody's body. So I said, oh my goodness. So now what we got to try to do is produce a body that don't have that in it, by giving our babies the proper food and by us ourselves trying to start eating right. It don't go away. If it's in our joints and our muscles, it's there. But then if they're there long enough, they die, and we just still feel that grain in there. You know, a lot of people have to have those joint problems, the arthritis thing. You know, they give it all kind of different names, but much of it is from us eating this hog. We now have bustling businesses all over America, right in Jersey, that have farms where all of the restaurants, they pick up their waste and feed it to their pigs. And then they grow the pig up and slaughter it and then sell it back to the restaurant. So they're feeding it garbage. It's no longer against the law. In fact, they think it's a pretty nifty way to recycle. One of these, the size of a grain of sand, doesn't sound like a big deal. But 10 or 20 or 30,000 of them, it becomes a big deal in your body, in your eyes, and in your eardrums, and even in a mother's milk when she's nursing a baby if she eating out. So, you know, it can get to be very serious. See, in America, you have to realize that every time the body gets upset, it only has so many ways it can react. And so almost everything that you can do will make you have the symptoms of the flu. High fever, diarrhea, stomach ache, headache, chills, muscle aches, and all of these things. They all, you know, we're going to have, those are the symptoms. And those are the symptoms when you eat the pig. It's going to have a lot of the same symptoms as the flu. Cheeses are a real issue because we like cheese. And the people that's vegetarian, if they not, you know, eating dairy, they don't want to eat cheese. It takes the place of meat. It's protein and everything. But you have to watch that because all of those cheeses up there are made with what they call rennet. And that comes from the pig. It's a gelling agent that makes the cheese hard. In fact, the harder the cheese, the more pork it's got in it. If it says gel, G-E-L or J-E-L, that's gelatin. Gelatin comes from the pig, okay? Marshmallows. Don't eat no marshmallows in your hot chocolate. Don't roast none, because they got hog in them. That's gelatin. Yogurt. Be very careful with the yogurt, because most yogurt has got gelatin in it. You got to read the labels. Take your glasses to the supermarket. Cottage cheese. You want to be real careful about cottage cheese because it looks like a healthy, wholesome food, but most cottage cheese got gelatin in it. Like that whipped cream, it has gelatin in it. It'll tell you on there. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And over here, the Colgate toothpaste. Don't use nothing that Colgate Palmolive sell. So we have to look at the long range that we need to purify our bodies so that those that come up out of us will live longer and be more intelligent and be more conscious and more bright and not be so easy to trick them like they have tricked us. Now that's the human brain. That's what the brain looked like with the worms in it. Okay? Now a person that's got a brain infected like that is acting like a lot of the people we know already. Okay? See all them little holes? That's a brain from autopsy to show you what that looks like. Now, that person didn't die from that. They died from some other things. But certainly their behavior in life had to be altered by that. Those people that insist on eating pork and don't even want to discuss it with you, won't even have that conversation and tell you to get out of here with that stuff. Oh, everything bad for you. You know, they'll say something like that. Yeah, right, yeah, you're going to die from something. Yeah. Oh, well, you ain't going to live but so long. I'm going to eat whatever I want to eat. You know, just all kind of silly stuff people say, but that's what that looked like. And those people are easy to excite. Those people are extremely jealous who eat a lot of hog and go savage very quickly, go from 1 to 100. You know, some of us go from 1 to 10, and then we go to 20. I mean, you have to really push us to get up to 100 speed. Well, these people go from 0 to 100 in a matter of seconds. Okay? We know them. We know them. Okay? And these people say a lot of things. They be disrespectful. They be greedy. They do a lot of stuff. And they don't relate it to acting like a pig, you know. And in fact, the way some of the sisters dress out there and the way they be walking and talking and cursing up and down the street, they look like just some wild boars. It reminds you of that when you look at it. Because a hog don't hide his shame. Even a dog will try to stick his tail between his legs. A hog don't. He'll do anything. The hog got a hole in his foot. I had to go find out about that too. The messenger had told us that the hog had a hole in the bottom of his hoof that the poison and the filth seep out of because he couldn't expel it out of his body. I had to go see it. You know, that stuff that's all real. It is filthy, it is nasty. And you don't want to have sex with nobody eating hog and calling yourself a vegetarian. Okay? Because you're lying to yourself. If your partner's eating hog, you are too. Okay? Don't have that much love for nobody. And you know all of the things y'all doing today. Okay? So, you know, if you want to be clean, you want to be with somebody clean. You want all of their mucus and body secretions to be clean. Okay? You don't want no secondhand hug. Half of the baby food on the shelf got pork and ham in it. Some kind of ham, bacon or something. They want us to start right off giving it to the baby. I have something called a 30-day no-hog test. If you stop eating pork for a month, just a month, if you want to know if it's poison or not, just stop eating pork for 1 month and then go back and eat your ham sandwich. I won't have to teach you this lesson no more. You'll be so sick you'll have diarrhea, your whole body will rebel. That's because it's poison. And once you take the poison out, you can't put the poison back in without the body reacting. So 30 days is just enough time for your body to say, oh, I ain't got to deal with that. You know. And they told me at CDC that the BM, the feces of a person eating pork, smell different than a person that's not eating it. If y'all want to know about some of them odors. You know, some of them people go to the bathroom and smell like somebody has died. That's what went in here. Whatever went in there, when it comes through the filtering system, it's like a sewage pipe, and when it comes out, it's going to be a variation of whatever you put in there to begin with. If you see what they sweep up with a broom to put in the machine for the hot dog, plus in the book I talk to you about what the hot dog is stuffed in. It's usually stuffed in the pig's intestines, because it's clear and see-through. I saw that done too, how they put it on a machine and it just shoots it out and they clamp it, each one coming out. And see, the pig's intestines, his whole body is so strong. You could take one and like people blow up a condom to show it bust, you can blow up a pig intestine just like that. Because it's just strong like that.
So healing brings peace, internal peace. Like Lisa said, like I'm saying. It brings peace. So I don't care what religion you worship, what God you kneel to. If you put some pork meat in your mouth, I know what's on your brain. You have worms on your brain.
Portobello, crimini, also oyster mushrooms. Many people are of the opinion that oyster mushrooms or mushrooms are fungus. What is a fungus? A fungus is something that grows on you and eats things up. Mushrooms are the product of mycelia. This is a network that nourishes. I have cured many diseases, psychological problems, with the Stropharia cubensis. So let me tell you something, mushrooms are very good. They're high in potassium.
The thing you should eat mushrooms, but then you're going to say those are fungus. We were taught that that was the fungus, don't eat any mushrooms. But there are some powerful mushrooms in the world that grows in this country of Africa, the continent of Africa, that the people that live in the country of Zambia, not Zambia, South Africa. What's the name of the country in South Africa? Right next to Zimbabwe. Oh, come on. Swaziland. That's the country. These people were the only people that were unconquered in that region, and they could tell what the British was going to do because they ate these mushrooms and they could see. But you call them fungus. I gave those mushrooms to a sister in DC. Her name is Queen Alexander. She had a tumor in her frontal lobe. The tumor came out in 4 hours on the corner of 13 and Fremont. Mushrooms come in varieties. They are the portobello, they are the crimini, they are also the one that is known as the oyster mushroom. You chop them up, you saute them with onions and bell pepper, and tomatoes you want to, and you make a natural saute dish there that you could have with some quinoa, grain. You could also buy wild rice, the natural rice, you know. I have some mushrooms in the hotel that come from Haiti. Oh, these mushrooms are powerful. They make rice taste like meat is in it. I have them, I was given that by the Haitian because this woman was cured of melanoma. She's a Haitian. So you have these Haitian mushrooms that we collect that are natural.
Also use a mushroom known as the Stropharia cubensis. And I would let them eat it. And it would raise their level of energy. Besides, it reprograms the cells in the brain and remove the residuals of the drug from the body immediately. Yes, we do have something. All organic. I rather cook food because, you see, we have the impression that raw foods are better than cooked foods. Well, that depends from the perspective. That depends on a whole lot of things, because raw foods anything that Mother Nature makes are alkali, right? Alkali means it is electrical, meaning it never dies. Anything that Mother Nature makes changes form, but it never dies because it has to go back into recycling into Mother Nature, and Mother Nature doesn't receive anything if it's dead. Mother Nature made live products go back in. So, if you cook something that is natural, would it lose its value? No. You could burn it to an ash. It still remains electrical because it is alkali. You cannot kill alkalinity. But in acidity, you could eat it raw. What are those two? We start right there. This is a vegetable. You could take this root. This is a root here. Carrots is a tubular. You could eat it raw. It's going to poison you. You could take the burdock and cook it. It's going to nourish you because it is alkali. It's natural. It's electrical. This is acid. Whether you cook it or not, it's dangerous. So what difference does it make if you eat raw or cook? My tonic
that I cook to cure leukemia cures leukemia. It's cooked, iron. So what happened? People are being cured and all my products are cooked. And those who eat raw food still have problems because they eat unnatural raw foods, not natural cook. You see it now? If it's natural, you could cook it, or raw, it's going to nourish you. But if it's unnatural, if you eat it raw or cooked, it's going to hurt you. So it doesn't matter. Providing what you eat natural. Providing what you eat if it is natural. Written by a brother named Ron Seaborn. The Children Health Food Book. Anyone here ever heard about the book? The Children Health Food Book. So one day, I was lecturing in LA, and I had the book in front of me. And the little girl saw it. And they said, Dr. 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞, could you give us this book? I asked the parents, could you want me to give the book to you? Yes. Here the book. They took it home. They read the book. The book made so much sense that when the daddy came home and the mother from work that Monday, the refrigerator was clean. Those 3 little girls took everything out the freezer because it shows in progression what occurs around 60. You know, when you eat the stuff and wait. Oh yeah, talk to me now. They have to have a machine on their eyes. So the little girl saw that. The result of the blood and the starch when you get to 50 and 60 and 70. Oh my God, at 73, you're in trouble. So they took everything out of the refrigerator. The mother and the father called me and said, you see what you did? You caused my daughters to die. But 3 months later, they came back and thanked me. Sisters and brothers, we need help. Quick. Stop eating the garbage. Stop it. Anyone that offers you protein, carrots, tofu, you question their sanity. They're trying to poison you because they have been compromised, so they want to drag you down there with them. You tell them, you're crazy. Thank you. I have nothing. I only have me. Okay. In the me, I knew that at some point the Caucasian and the rest of the world wasn't eating what they're eating now. And I also know that the minerals in the soil address every race, not only black. But the blacks have something in common. No, the blacks have something that is unique, unlike any other race in the world. We have a high concentration of carbon. And because we have that high concentration of carbon, there is a mineral that's been lacking to support this high carbon level. Iron. So when I put the compounds together, I made sure that the black race would receive a high amount of concentrated iron. That's the only way I'm able to cure you. And in so doing, it is an African approach, because in reality, healing is African. Healing isn't Arab, nor European. Because the great Hippocrates was the father of medicine, right? Who? 𝐬𝐸𝐴𝐻otep. That was an African man? No, that was not an African man. Him nor Cleopatra. Him nor Queen Tai. Him nor any one of those Egyptian folk that you guys follow. 𝐬𝐸𝐻otep made the biggest mistake in his life. You go tell that to the Kemetic school that Dr. 𝐦𝐨𝐵𝐞 said that they misinformed. Why? Hippocrates the Greek went to Africa because he was a philosopher. But he noticed something, that the African people were never getting sick. He went to Africa And he learned what the African were doing. The African medicine is nutrition. He went back to Greece and thus established the school of medicine using herbs. Imhotep I didn't use herbs. This boy here, you know what he did? He opened the human body. If the human body needed to be open, it would have a zip on it. So this moringa knows that you have both eyes closed, so I could sell you anything. We don't want that anymore. We don't want to tell stories anymore. We don't want to protect the stories anymore. But you see what happened? When you have been healing or call yourself a healer for 20 or 30 years using comfrey and rose hips and recommending tofu, and someone comes on the set and says that you may not be quite right, man, you get off there. You begin to get crazy. You begin to go crazy on that person because you have invested 30 years and people know you, and now you can't turn back and say, I was wrong. Well, I was wrong. I was in Rattan, the island of Rattan, and a woman was listening to me talk, and she asked me, what is the best breakfast in the morning? I said, I don't know. She said, a glass of hot water. I know she was right. The sister was right. They eat cassava, that's starch. They make a special instrument that squeezes the cassava juice out. And they make sure that the hog never comes around, because the hog drink that, he's dead in 2 seconds.
No, the African introduced me to the iboga. The ibogaine is an adulterated version of iboga. The iboga plant is the plant that takes away addiction overnight. If you remove any form of addiction, if you take it in the raw, pure form. But ibogaine is different. Now you're talking about a step-down version. You're talking about a chemical version. But iboga comes from Cameroon. It is one of the best plants in the world for the removal of addiction of any kind of drugs. Yes, it is good. It's highly alkaline. One of the substances that really is found in the iboga plant is two: iron fluorine or iron phosphate, and the other one is calcium. This is why the reaction is so violent. Not violent, but strong, because it is good. But there's another natural plant in Africa that could stop all of this mess, such as malnutrition. They call that the hoodia, that comes from Namibia and South Africa. The hoodia. You only have to take a little piece of hoodia and eat it right now, and you would not be hungry for the next 4 days. Telling you that this plant is a nourisher. There are many plants in Africa. Then you have the kankansa, you have the sia, you have the popa, you have the marula. Oh, I could go on and name many African plants. But the ibogaine, that's a pharmaceutical product. Iboga.
Correct. Pfizer came in and took hold of the iboga and turned it into ibogaine at this particular time. Is that what happened?
They didn't take all the iboga plant. You cannot control nature. They're not the owner of what God made. They're crazy. That's not what happened.
No, first of all, because you're a mother, I have to ask, did you breastfeed?
I breastfed both my children, who are now 25 and 33 respectively, for 3 years for the eldest one and 3 years and 4 months for the last one, because she grew teeth and I wasn't having a bar of it.
Okay.
So,
and after breastfeeding, was there any additional milk replacements given, or was that it?
Milk replacements. After 3, no, there was no milk. Not, I mean, like, give her a bottle or something.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I was giving her lots of acid-rich food, which at the time I didn't realize was acid.
I see.
So, yeah, she
Okay.
got drinks. containing Irish moss, but also containing milk, cow's milk, so it's kind of like defeating the object, really.
But
I didn't know at that time.
Right, I understand. So now that you've come into this newfound knowledge of the alkaline way of living, because it's a lifestyle, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle.
Nah, it's a lifestyle, just do it.
Yeah? How was the transition for you?
I'm going to tell the truth, it wasn't easy at all. I was living sort of tiptoeing on one side with fear. What am I going to do if I don't eat what I already know? And then there was this other aspect of me that really wanted to inquire and check out what was going on in the alkaline world. So I did it a meal by meal. In fact, an ingredient in a meal by ingredient in each meal until I managed to change what I was eating.
Okay.
And it's been the best thing ever, really.
Yeah?
And I'm really not joking.
Have you shared this information with your children?
Yeah, I have shared my. I keep doing it, and they keep telling me that I'm beating on. But I'll tell you something. I've been talking about this for about 3 years with my daughter, my eldest daughter. Because the little one, she and Nando's are in a relationship. So, but yeah, my eldest daughter has explained to me that a friend of hers has, or is suspected to have fibroids. Those are growths in your stomach that impede your ability to conceive, or increases the volume or it increases the heaviness or the weight of your menstrual cycle.
Right.
And she said her friend has that. And then she followed that with, Mum, but you know how to heal that. And I said, well, you can have rice and chicken like you normally do. All of you can eat that. And then she took offense to me saying that. So when we plant a seed, it's not at that time people always necessarily pick up.
Right.
They don't pick up at that time, but it's going on in there.
Because the seed doesn't grow in one day.
That's right. So, and it is fair, because if you think of eating meat and fish and all the things you normally eat every day, you don't ever want to stop eating that, because you're used to that. You know, you're used to the lethargy that you get, and you know how to cook it. So dealing with another way of eating alkaline it's a whole new thing, and no one wants to change. So that's the reason. But once you get into it bit by bit, you understand. You know, my shop's shut because I'm menopause, so nothing's coming out of there. But when you have a menopause, it just means you've seen your last menstrual cycle. I'm 12 years in now. So this happened for me 12 years ago, so I stopped seeing all of those things. But what I have noticed is once the cycle ends, it was replaced by lots of sweating and hot flashes and all sorts. And I realised food had to do with this. So once I changed to a plant-based diet, I didn't have that problem anymore. Although you do get the odd hot flash, but that's because you might still be violated by smoking cigarettes or having maybe, I don't know, extra salt or salt that's not permitted in the diet, like the sea salt that Dr. Sebi promotes. But sometimes, you know, because there's just salt there, you think, all right, let's put that on. But you do pay if you do that. So the difference I've found is I've become, I feel lighter. I don't get so many headaches. Yeah, and I don't feel bloated. I don't feel bloated so much. And the hot flashes are literally non-existent. So there are lots of benefits to this.
Charlie, how about you?
Well, I said before, I used to get quite low moods on my period, and just a few days before, I'd feel like really, really disconnected.
Yeah, from everything.
Yeah, and just like, but I don't get that anymore.
Oh, you're good now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Would you say, what would you put it down to what you've been eating so far?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So since I came in here, my periods have got a lot better.
Wow. So that means the fruits and the vegetables and the smoothie versions anyway have been helping them.
Yeah.
Confirmed. Confirmed. And when you have children, do you plan on breastfeeding?
If I were to have children, then I would want to breastfeed.
Excellent, excellent. Secondly, do you eat meat?
I do.
Why? Why? Because it tastes good. Is that your only reason? Come on.
No, actually, my main reason is that I feel awkward when people offer me something and then they take a really long time to cook something, like I've got to tell them that I'm vegetarian. I feel bad when I refuse the food that they might have eaten it.
So you're trying to say that you eat meat sometimes to please other people? Are you taking the piss?
Do you eat meat?
Not anymore, no.
Why did you make that choice?
Because I met somebody called David Sunday, and he had told me several. I knew we all knew what they do to the animals and its flesh. So David Sunday persuaded me, and I thought, you know what? I've heard enough. I'm not going to do it anymore.
Okay. And have you taken the information to your children?
Yes, I have.
And how have they applied it to their lives?
No, they all say the same thing. I can't give up meat.
I can't give up meat. Okay.
First question is, we have to speak one at a time, yeah? Do you lot think that eating chicken and eating meat and all the things, do you think it's good for you?
Yeah, because there's that protein in the meat, so that good for your like muscles and that. But depends how much meat you're eating.
Yeah.
What type of meat you're eating? If it's cooked properly.
Okay.
If it's the meat you think it is.
Okay. What you eat here, do you eat at home?
No.
What do you eat at home then?
Proper chicken.
Like this ain't like proper. Obviously it's food, yeah, but this is just like food that to get you in the way.
Okay.
Food at home, like it's more cooked, more healthier in a sense.
Okay. Okay.
Curry goat, white rice.
Would you say that at home it's mum that usually cooks the meals?
Yeah. Not in my household.
Not in your household?
You have to contribute.
You all have to contribute to cooking the food, yeah? Okay, but the majority of you is mum that cooks all the meals and that, yeah? Okay, okay. So do you lot think that if you lot had to eat healthy, do you think that it's mum's responsibility?
No.
Whose responsibility is it?
We're old enough to know like we have to eat. It depends.
Nah, it doesn't. But think about it, like you're growing up, people have told you what's right, you know what's right, you're a sports, you're a footballer, you already know what's right to eat.
Yeah, it depends.
Obviously your mum makes it or like, your parents make it, but obviously...
But you have to have the knowledge.
It depends on if you have the knowledge on whether or not. But then what if your mum's come home late from work and then she orders one takeaway?
That's calm, but that happens.
Obviously, that's why you should know how to, by this age, you should know how to be making meals for yourself.
And obviously, if that does happen, it's not like, it's not happen every single day.
Do you know what soya is? Yeah? Has anyone ever eaten that before?
Yeah.
Yeah? Soya, yeah? Did you know, that soya is used to make glue, ink, plastic, and rubber? Did you know that?
And we're munching.
And you're munching that?
Well, I don't.
Did you know that? All of you in here are the future. All of you were 9, all of you were 8, all of you were 7. In 30 years' time, the 2-year-old's gonna be 32. In 30 years' time, the 9-year-old's gonna be 39. So when you do that maths, you are the future, innit? So you guys have to try your best to try and eat much better than how you're eating now, yeah? And we're gonna give you a guide. It's all good me talking about it, but what am I gonna do though? What am I gonna give you to help you start the journey? What am I gonna give you to take home to the one person in your life that feeds you all the food you've ever eaten so far, your mum? Do you get what I'm saying to you? So why are you still doing that? Should I tell you something about fries that you never knew? If you take a chip here, do an experiment. Take a fry here, go to your basement, find a place to put that fry in your basement, come back in 10 years, it wouldn't have changed. Meaning that it doesn't decompose in your stomach.
Especially McDonald's.
Especially McDonald's. Have you seen it? He left a burger for 26 years and it never changed shape. Didn't even mold or nothing. So when you're eating that, that's what's happening in you. This is a poster. And on this poster, it has all of the alkaline foods. Alkaline foods are electric foods. Because electric foods is what you are. You got calcium in your bones, yeah? They told you that you need cow's milk, but your mums and dads are not cows, so why do you need cow's milk for? Why did they lie to you? Why are they lying? Is your mum a cow? No. So why are you drinking cow milk? All you need is fruits and veg and your brains will grow and develop in the same way. You understand me? Even better, all right? Because the biggest animals and the most humblest animals in the forest are what? Vegetarians. Vegetarians. No, I'm being serious. Check it. The rhino. What does the rhino eat? They don't eat meat. The ox. Everyone wants to be as strong as an ox. The ox don't eat meat. The elephant don't eat meat. The giraffe doesn't eat meat. The zebra don't eat meat. The yak and the buffalo does not eat meat. So these are big animals. Where they getting their protein from though?
What do you eat at home?
This is what I'm saying. This is what you're gonna eat at home. This is what I eat. So this is what I'm gonna give you to take home to show your parents and say we need to eat more of this. This is alkaline food. There you go. At home I eat quinoa. I eat 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞. 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞 is like rice, but it's a healthy rice.
So where are you from?
Yeah.
So where are you from?
I'm half Nigerian, half Cameroon. All of you can get one of these posters. You're all gonna get one. You're all gonna get one. There you go. What one? Anyone else? Yeah. So everyone got one, yeah?
Yeah.
If you guys start now, if you lot start eating all of these foods here, all of these foods will help not just you, but your children. Because look what it says up there. It says, let alkaline food be your medicine and your medicine alkaline food.
So what are you suggesting that God does to
Me, look, once you consume a life, you begin to lose your life. And all of these animals here, the human race eats them. Look at them properly.
Oh.
Do you get what I mean?
What is that spider on there?
Yeah. People eat spiders.
What is it that you're trying to like?
So what I'm trying to say is we need to stick to just these foods. It's not going to be easy, don't get me wrong, but nothing is instant. Okay, take your time. But if I started when I was your age, bro, I'm telling you, man, you don't have to worry about anything.
I'm not eating McDonald's anymore.
Never eat McDonald's.
I eat McDonald's every day.
McDonald's does not decompose, it stays in your stomach. Some people have food from 2009 in their bellies. But remember, it's your mothers, it's your mums. Mums are the ones that feed you. So you have to tell your mums that you want to try and be eating healthier food. And this is what I have to give to you guys. So this poster is what I'm giving to you. All of this is on this poster, in these posters. So
Thank you.
and all the information and the website and because there's also a book. Maybe you could tell them to get the book as well. But that's the poster that we have, and that poster is going to help you. So stick it on the kitchen wall, bedroom wall, whatever, and just tell your mums to try and be adding these things to your food. Thank you. Take care. You're gonna be a chef, yeah?
Yep.
What do you want to make?
I want to make salad, fruit salad.
So you want to feed everybody?
Yep.
You say you got 5 children, mommy?
Yes.
And the last one is how old?
52.
52?
Yeah.
And the first one is how old?
Is 60 what now? Danny is what, 60 so 55 been born him is 60 what? 61, 62 now? Yeah. The boy.
Wow. And do you breastfeed all of them?
Yes.
All of them?
All of them, all 5 of them. All of them.
When did you start on the alkaline journey? When did you start that?
I usually do bits and pieces, but it's only when I start hearing from Dr. 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞.
Yeah.
That is the time I start get serious with them.
When was that? A year ago? 2 years?
Say about 2 years now.
2 years now?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to tell them your age though. You don't want to tell them
I am
your age.
82, may come in. Very well. I will be 82 coming in
82
in May.
In May?
Yes.
Wow.
1935.
And mommy's out here, you know, with the trainers. Look, mommy's trainers.
Legs are stronger.
Walking.
Yes.
So mom, do you like to walk or not?
Yeah, I walked to Brixton the other day when that thingy was out there.
Yeah.
How many times I walked to Brixton?
So when you first started the journey, from when you first started to hear about Dr. 𝐦𝐨𝐫𝐞,
Yes.
so you say
I wasn't fully on it like now.
Mm.
I usually do bits and pieces,
Mm-hmm.
but from since
I met you down in Brixton. You know, when you was in Brixton at Iceland when that policeman.
And they come and try and grab me. When you tried to stop the works.
Yeah.
So what would you say would be the benefit of when you first started till now? What's the benefits?
Well, my sight was very poor, and from I start having all these bits and pieces that I know supposed to have.
Right.
Because I get all the eye from you, and I get some iron, and the encouragement of drinking sea moss.
Sea moss, yes, excellent.
And my green juice, and especially that hair rubbing as well that I bought from you. I get a lot of benefits.
Yes.
All of them.
The baton oil you're talking about.
I don't know what's the name of it.
Okay, the hair for life. The hair one.
Yeah, the hair one. Yeah. That I get from you.
No sea moss powder.
Yes, I get the sea moss powder from you as well. And the first day I met you, I have all the long list that you gave to me. You remember?
Yeah, but have you been buying those herbs? Have you been buying them herbs?
Yes, and I have a long list. My daughter, my last girl up there, I have it up there with your name. And, and my daughter do out all of them that you give me and print them out. They can't come out.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's excellent.
And I bought all the, what you call it, that one.
Which one? The chart.
The chart.
Okay.
I bought two and somebody come and see the chart and I gave it to them.
Okay.
And I buy back one more. So I had my own now. I don't even know where it is because I was doing up the kitchen.
Okay.
And I don't know where I put it so it's not up. What else? And from that I just start doing my whole thing. Because I stopped eating meat.
When? When did you stop eating meat?
Long time, even before.
Even before you died? Serious?
Yeah.
But was your husband eating meat as
he stopped.
He stopped as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, why I stopped, I will find out that the red meat was I really cook chicken on a Sunday, but it's not for us.
Okay. So you changed him?
Yeah, I give him what I eat.
Okay. So if not for you, he wouldn't have changed?
Yeah.
Yeah?
He likes to do things that I say.
So he listens to you?
He listens to me.
All right. That's what I want you to say. Yeah, man. That's
we
good.
lived together for a very long time. I get married in Jamaica.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's over 50 odd years now. From time to time he said, I don't like this whole heap of meat. And he was getting older as well. And he was getting older and we find out that the meat is no good.
Okay.
Especially the red meat.
So basically the meat in 1991 is not the meat now.
No.
It's not the same.
No, it's not the same. Even back home still. You know, not plenty of meat. We always choose what we eat, even from back home. He doesn't like meat. Fish, he will really eat.
How about the children? Are they eating alkaline food as well?
Especially one of my daughters, the last girl.
She changed the same time as you?
No, she even changed long before I even. She locks her hair. Yeah. Both two of them locks their hair, two girls.
Yeah.
But she cut hers off now because it was falling out. And she's getting married, so she's growing her hair back, the last girl.
Yeah.
But she was what do you call it?
Vegan.
Yeah, she was that. And she still don't eat meat, nothing at all, no cheese, no dairy, nothing. She don't.
How old was she when she started? Do you remember?
No, I can't remember how old. I can't tell you.
But how old is she now?
She's the one that I tell you is
56.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but she started a long time. And she have a son. He's 22 now. But he's trying to do what we do as well. Because even the sea moss, when a blender hit, he drinks it.
He drinks it?
Yes. And he's talking about mucus. He don't drink milk. He's 22, but sometimes Sometimes he go over the top and I don't know, he go out and he buy this Chinese food. I say, Raymond, stop it.
It's not good, man.
He eat sweet and sour.
Sweet
Very
and sour chicken and everything's there.
Yeah, but the rest of the thing, he eat my food.
Okay. For the younger women, what type of advice would you give to them to help them to change the way they eat?
Well,
what type of advice would you give to them?
My daughter, I don't have to give them. They know.
Whoa.
They know what they're doing.
Okay.
They're not silly. They don't eat any food.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
They know.
Okay.
They know even more than me, honestly.
So what's that you're drinking there, mommy?
I'm drinking sea moss, kale,
and
I think watercress is in there, and ginger, I think is in there, cucumber must be in there, or lime, I'm not sure what he puts in there.
Maybe a little bit of lime,
and
key lime.
What's the other one name I asked him to put in there?
Burdock root.
Yeah, burdock root, but there's the next one I asked him to put in.
If she says.
Mako. Yeah. Mako. Yeah, that's the one I want.
Okay.
Yeah, Mako.
All right. All right then, mommy. That's good. So, you see, mommy's doing it. So everybody should be able to do it. Easy. Give thanks, mommy.
Salama. I am Malika, the head of the 12 Archaea, who you may refer to as the female angels, or Angelus. The word Malak means angel in both Hebrew and Arabic, and Malika is the female form of the word. Female angels are mentioned in your Bible, in the book of Zechariah, chapter 5 verse 9, where it states, "Then I looked up, and saw 2 women flying in the sky, with wind beneath their wings. They had wings like a stork, and they picked up a basket and flew from earth into the heavens." The 12 Archaea collectively make up the angelic presence known as Japhiel, the divine beauty of the Elohim. The angels first exist as celestial, energetic, etheric beings, prior to crystallizing and personifying in a humanoid form. For every energy that personifies as a male angel, the corresponding twin flame personifies as a female angel. Among the council of 24 elders, there are 12 male angels, called Archae, and 12 female angels, called the Archaea. The term Archaea comes from a word which means primary, original, supreme, rulers. The 12 males, and 12 females, which make up the 24 elders, embody the totality of God consciousness, by creating a balance between the male and female aspects, of all existing energies. 12 is a symbolic significant number, as in the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 tribes of Israel, and the 12 occult cranial nerves. It is important that you become familiar with the feminine aspects of the angelic entities, in order to bring forth, and give birth to, balanced spiritual energy in the physical realm. The 12 Archaea are separated into 2 groups. The first group is the group of 7 Archaea, who correspond as the twin flames to the 7 archangels. They are Archaea Michaela, the Lady of Virtue, twin flame to the Archangel Michael. She provides you with both spiritual and physical protection. Archaea Mariella, the Lady of Purity, twin flame to the Archangel Raphael. Archaea Mariella was the guiding energy of the Black Madonna, the Mother of Jesus. She provides you with spiritual and physical healing. Archaea Uriela, the Lady of Grace, twin flame to the Archangel Uriel. She is the light of the Elohim, and works with the complete spectrum of light and rainbow rays, which manifest as the aurora, and emanations of light, deep in space within star clusters and nebula. Archaea Raziella, Lady Liberty, twin flame to the Archangel Raziel. She presides over the triad of freedom, justice, and equality. Archaea Sophia, Lady Clarity, twin flame to the Archangel Metatron. She provides you with flashes of inspiration, which light up your third eye, so that you may receive divine insight. Archaea Gabriella, Lady Hope, twin flame to the Archangel Gabriel. Archaea Gabriella may appear to you as an old woman with gray hair, as a reminder of the strength and perseverance which comes with old age. She gives you the positive power and optimism to move into action, and raise up above adversity. Archaea Seraphina, Lady Mercy, twin flame to the Archangel 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤. She provides you with the divine power and strength of the Elohim. The remaining 5 Archaea are known as the Pentangels, or Pentangles, and they make up the group known as the Angelic Femme Fatale. The initials, FATAL, stands for the phrase, fairest amongst thousands, altogether lovely, and is a reference from the Song of Songs of Solomon. These 5 Archaea were the guiding energies of the 5 biblical heroines, Ada, Ruth, Esther, Martha, and Electra. They are Archaea Shekinah, the Lady Constance, twin flame to the angel Sandalphon. She is both mysterious, yet familiar, and works tirelessly to provide you with steadfastness and positivity. Archaea Azraela, the Lady of Fidelity, twin flame to the angel Azrael. She presides over the aspects of mortality, transition, transformation, ascension, and resurrection. Archaea Daniela, Lady Love, twin flame to the angel Radu'riel. She is the divine conduit of caring, compassion, and nurturing nature. Archaea Janella, the Lady of Faith, twin flame to the angel 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿. She can give you the substance of things hoped for, and evidence of things not seen. Archaea Raela, Lady Loyalty, twin flame to Kaddisan Rama. She may appear to you completely covered, except her eyes, as a reminder that appearances can be deceptive, and true beauty resides within. It is the journey within one's own self where you will find these guiding principles, but first, you must accept the infinite flow of love from the divine, and acknowledge yourself as a divine being of light. If you are able to accept your true self, and comprehend that your true consciousness is a part of the Most High, then you will soon learn that the 12 Archaea represent the womb for your consciousness, a vessel for divine source, for your divine spark that is of the Creator, to birth spirit into form.
Because he asked me, do you believe in God? I said, of course I do. He said, that's what's wrong. That's what's wrong with everybody. All they do is say that they believe in God. But that doesn't help them nor God. Because when you tell someone that you believe in God, you're saying to someone that you're uncertain about God. But when you deliver yourself to God, you get the goodies. You get the benefits. But when you reject God, you get nothing. And that's what we've been doing, unconsciously. Brother, my mother did it. My grandmother did it. I did it. Because we didn't know. But truth is here.